Hello everyone again to the Gamestars League for Brawl Stars Season 1, and we are continuing through stage number 2. We had Group A yesterday, and today, Teddy, we're going to crack on with Group B to see how things will pan out between these 4 teams.
Yeah, yesterday was a really stacked group, very similar level between all the teams, so many close matches, so many close affairs. Today should be slightly different, whereas we do have some teams standing out a bit more, but it does also mean there's some bigger names, some teams that are a bit more well known and had some tougher groups in the first group stage. So expect some absolute fire matches here, as well as all 4 teams will be battling it out for a spot in the playoffs.
That's right. In terms of some games we're going to have, especially the opening match, some right bangers here to go through today. I'm very excited to start off with when we have a look at the groups beforehand, though, before we see the schedule. And just looking back at Group A from yesterday, you can see Noble Elite managed to top that quite comfortably, probably a lot more comfortably compared to what we expected. And Unima Gaming managed to go through, and sadly with Chernobyl, Dribblers and Module 7, it was very, very tough between them all. It was just a little bit of a shame that with Module 7, they struggled again a bit more than we had anticipated.
Yeah, they had some great matches, but yeah, they just fell short, man. It came down to 4 missed match points, and that's just how tough it gets in those groups. Today's group, though, is quite an insane one as well, especially if you look at some of those top names: Uchiha Clan, Big Clan, FA Kozaki, Fight Club 2. Those are the 4 contestants you will be seeing today. I mean, the 2 names that immediately stand out are going to be Uchiha Clan and Big Clan. They are the teams with the more experience, and they're actually going to be facing each other first. So one of the 2 teams is not going straight to the playoffs from the get-go, right? So this is definitely going to be a tough match, and it's going to be the first opener match on stream tonight. So just what a way to kick things off.
I find it's quite funny because this is what you'd see in a winners match. You know, normally see these 2 teams separate and we're like, okay, we can kind of predict what we're going to see for the winners match. But no, these 2 will be going from the get-go, like you mentioned already, Teddy. And to be fair, you know, it's understandable. Only one team from out of all 4 of these teams in the groups can go straight into international finals without having to play at the side of match. So either way, Uchiha Clan and Big, if they're in separate matches or the first match, they'd have to play against each other anyway, you know, if it is the first or the winners match. But you're right, though, one opener to start with between these 2 teams. I'm very excited to start off Group B between these 2 juggernauts once again.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think that we can add even more than what you just said. I feel like this would have been a good, like, deciders match or like winners match in the first round of the group stage. Like, this could definitely have been such a sort of matches. They both had some pretty tough groups, and this meant that ultimately they had to face each other here in the second round, as they failed to qualify initially. But honestly, both teams are pretty big favorites to make it out of this group stage, since 2 teams in each group will proceed to go to the playoffs. One at the end of the day here that is going to go 2-0. The other one will play a decider match once they are 1-1, and that's going to be on Friday. So Friday are going to be your decider matches.
Yeah, we can predict these matches a little bit better compared to yesterday. Yesterday was just a write-off. There was no way of telling like who was going to go through, who was going to go to the side of match, etc. Just from experience and seeing these players and teams actually go through. But yeah, yesterday was quite interesting. Today, you know, the trend is going to continue, but the problem is we've got bigger teams now. So it's a matter of if the other 2 can actually, you know, cause an upset or, you know, cause some kind of controversy in some way. It should be very exciting. And you can see the ball of bands there, you've got the bell, and you do have to stew there. Not really too much of a surprise here, Teddy.
No, 2 brawlers that are just really strong individually, that can just, you know, pop off on their own. And that's why they are going to be removed, to remove those kind of X factors from those teams. Make sure that they don't end up winning stuff that they shouldn't. It's brawlers that are new to the game, so not everyone is the most comfortable playing them, and you know, they're not exactly done balancing them either. So those would be the reasons behind those bans. You can see the players Rama, Engie, and Oliver on the side of Uchiha clan. Big is Lars, Nadine, and Sugarsnort. If you look at their picks, I feel like it's a bit more like consistent than some of the other teams. We do see a lot of Gene appearing on both Rama and Sugarsnort. Those guys will often play mid, but they can switch around as well depending on their needs. Engie, a big Max fan, just like Nadine, and then both Oliver and Lars are the most consistent ones, just playing a lot of different brawlers in general.
Yeah, you can tell just from the brawlers overall, like what kind of role these players like to play, like consistently across the board. We haven't got 11 maxes like we saw yesterday. I still can't get over that. I need to try and memorize which player it was. That was just absolute madness. It was 11 of one, 10 of another, and then a measly 1 on one of the other brawlers. I think it was a Jesse in the end. But yeah, you're right there, just looking at it, pretty spread out across the board. Nadine, likes to use his max, not really too much of a surprise there. Lars is quite even as well. Sugarsnort likes to use the Gene on the other side. Again, like you mentioned, as we see, a higher skill ceiling and higher tier teams, you're right though, it does come to a point where you need to be a lot more versatile. You need to be, a lot more consistent across the board with who you want to use and why in terms of counteracting certain other comps. You can't really stick to, the same 2 or 3 every single time. Obviously, that's just depending on which mode and map you're going to play. But we'll go to that very shortly. And between Uchiha Clan and Big, I'm just curious to see what you think in terms of overall performance. You've seen these guys play back in Stage 1 a few weeks ago. You've seen them compete, of course, in other events and tournaments and competitions in the Brawl Stars competitive scene. Any rough ideas as you think who should have the edge in this matchup?
I feel like overall, I would slightly favor Big because I do still feel like they are the better team at the moment. Uchiha Clan, they have so much competitive experience behind them, but they have kind of hit a ceiling a while back and they've never really managed to get above it. Big was very similar, except they managed to break through, qualifying for their first monthly final, I believe 2 months ago or like a month and a half ago. And start really having some good performances against those tier 1 teams. So I'm gonna go Big for that reason. And despite Uchiha Clan, in my opinion, being in a all-time high right now, I still feel like Big are just a bit higher, a bit of a player comparison between Rama and Nadine. I think we said earlier, never mind, it was not Nadine that was playing mid. But anywho, stats-wise, it is going to be in favor of Rama in this particular instance. But honestly, through the group stage, I feel like the gap between some of the teams, was just so big that it's really hard to say, to really reflect on them, because Nadine and Big Clan in general, they were in the group of death, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, definitely not a tough opponents on their side. So I wouldn't look into the stats all too much right now, and I would just focus once the gameplay actually starts.
Yeah, we need some kind of indication in set number 1. The only thing I can say is you've got to remember Big came from that group of death in Group F back at Stage 1. And before we go into the modes and maps, just like to mention as well, is the fact that, Big had the likes of Bunker Esports, Totem Esports, XO in the end. They put up a good fight against XO, even though they went to losers, and they still beat Bunker Esports 3-0. But when they played against Totem Esports, sadly, they did have to forfeit, but it was very, very close between the two teams. So, again, another strong indicator to show why Big could be one of the favourites, not just in this match, but in the group overall. But looking at the maps, you've got some assembly required, undermines, safe zone, jumping beans, and lastly, it will be massive attack. So, the only thing we'll give Uchiha Clan some kind of edgeway is, like you said, the map pool and what they can do with it and how prepared they are in this map pool in comparison to the usual competitive maps. But Big certainly are more than capable of, dealing with and used to and just being able to adjust. So, yeah, a lot of that, it does understand, it's understandable way, Big should be the favourites in the entire group. But Uchiha Clan, I feel like they do have a little bit more to prove. But it's like you said earlier, they still haven't broken through that ceiling. Big have made a start of breaking through, but probably because they've had more time to, show their talents across the board in the in the competitive scene. But looking forward to this. I want to see what Uchiha Clan can do. I would probably say if they want to really, put in a lot of effort and try and shock us, in terms of what we predict, they need to get out the gate strong, hot, and don't really muck around too much. They really need to, sort themselves out in this first match of the day. And I hope they are one of those teams where they're not slow starters.
Yeah, I think that unfortunately for them, facing Big Clan, they cannot be slow starters. Otherwise, it's just gonna go a bit too fast, isn't it? They
Yeah.
really need to just start really strong and keep it up like that, because even if they have a 1 or 2 lead in sets, they could still drop a set here and there, and then it comes down to the final decider set, and things start looking a lot more blurry and shaky. So I think that Uchiha just really need to perform early on into this match, try to carry as much momentum as possible and close it out as quick as possible. Big can be slow starters in those sort of matches, so they should try to play around that and take as much as they can before Big is really starting to feel comfortable and start to pop off.
Yeah, with a team like Big, they are going to be very well structured against a team like Uchiha Clan. It's going to be very hard to throw them off. They're going to be, expecting all the surprises, from anywhere, shape, or form. It is going to be very difficult. And the more you do grind this game, and the more, naturally paced and how fast you can create the tempo in this game further with your strategies you want to try and execute. And that's what Uchiha Clan need to try and do. The only thing you can say is maybe if they cause as much chaos and mayhem as possible, but make it have some elements of strategy going forward, then maybe they can shake things up a bit against Big. But I don't want to say it's a tall order, because we know Uchiha Clan are actually a very good team, but sometimes we're against a team like Big where they're just excelling more and more as time goes by. It's going to be very difficult to decide. I don't think Uchiha Clan are the kind of team where they're making the assumption that they will just go straight into the decider match. But I don't think too much pressure is going to be on them. They know that even if they lose this match and they have to go to the deciders, they're going to be comfortable knowing that they will go to international finals most probably, but they will have a lower seed going into, which is going to make matters worse. So it's going to be not just an important game for Big, but for Uchiha Clan as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just some extra security. If you win this match, you know that you're not going home today. You know that you're staying at least until Friday, and that you could even qualify today already and just skip through that, go straight up to the playoffs, and not have to worry about getting eliminated whatsoever. If you win this match today, you can't get eliminated off the bracket today. You have to stay at least until Friday, so it's just a lot more comfortable, a lot less stress, more time to prepare for the playoffs, and just a better situation overall to get started towards those playoffs. So I feel like it is still quite important to win this one here, especially looking at the bottom half of the group, where both Uchi and Big should be comfortable winning. At least you make sure that you pretty much already go to those playoffs, instead of having to really look into another match, just an extra match in the end, and have to start to just stress yourself out. That's the moments where those teams can start panicking and making some rush decisions. The best way for them is just to win this one, but it's going to be quite a challenging match ahead of them.
Yeah, there's a few good teams in Poland. They actually top their country nationally in the qualifiers. It's not saying a lot, because it's more about the entire region as a whole, not just the nationality of some of these countries and some of these teams and where they play from. Again, it's just going to be very tough. Big, they are well-known organisation. I can understand why they've been picked up by Big, just the fact that they've seen a lot of potential from this team going forward. But speaking of going forward, Teddy, I think we might be going into the first set of the day to see what Uchiha Clan can do against Big. But very excited to see what Big can come up with here as well.
Yeah, we start things off with a BB Jean Barley for Uchiha. Big going for something slightly similar, but with the max instead. And they get the first siege ball, despite being quite behind in bolts. Now Uchiha managed to really catch up and get a solid bolt count, but with the Barley they can also try to commit some nice early damage. They're getting quite a bit actually of that siege ball. That's a pretty decent start, 40% for level 2 Siege bot. I think they will be glad with that result. The question is, how is the retake from Lucia? So far, not ideal, as they lose a player already and things are looking a bit blurry. I haven't picked up a single bolt in this preparation phase here. That's going to be yet another kill. Rama does manage to find a bolt leaking away, but that's going to be about it for this preparation phase. He misses the pull as well.
A bit of a surprise there. The level 5 siege bot is on its way. First one did about 40%. Normally, on average, about 0 to 20% for the first siege bot, but they did a good job getting so much damage output done in comparison. Still be able to keep it at bay. It's not going to do as much as last time, but this is a much better defense, and now the options are going to be limited on the side of Big on how they want to try and keep up and do this next. Long as they try and keep them at bay into the bolts, they should be fine. They're only one behind, so they've got plenty of time to make sure to keep that mid control and continue on increasing those bolts. So now they're up by 1 and they're still fighting for that mid control here. As you can see now, everyone on Lucia clan just trying to do everything they can. Managed to get 2 bolts in the process while on the left side still being able to stay alive. And Nadine is just doing so much damage there. Finally got taken down. Lars actually traded him off the end, and it is going to be a tied siege, which means that Big will take this first game quite comfortably.
Yeah, good stuff from Big. So far, so good. Pretty convincing gameplay. It got a bit close towards the end, you know, obviously with the bolts being tied up, but all the next bolts went the side of Big. So despite it being close, I would say that it was definitely in favor of Big, and that they had this match for the most part under control. Solid way to start, solid way to kick things off. Siege is a really tough game mode to start as well, because it is the most punishing game mode in the game. You make one mistake and suddenly everything is getting messed up. You're getting a siege bot you shouldn't, your opponents are getting a siege bot they shouldn't, and then things start getting really messy. You don't really know what's going to happen next, or you end up having a draw, and then the next siege bots count as double if not triple. So it is a super tough game mode to start things off, and Big, it seems like they have things very much under control so far.
Yeah, they didn't defend the first siege bot very well. The second one was much better in comparison, but it doesn't change the fact that Big had that mid control pretty much the majority of that game. I didn't really felt like that the game was not in their hands the entire time. They had the majority of the map control, their damage was very good, and I didn't really feel like things were too chaotic. It's very well structured, and I just felt like Big just had it under control the entire time. There was not one moment where I felt, oh, you know, Big could be in a little bit of trouble here during certain segments of that game, and they kept the bolt control under control as well, made sure that things, you know, weren't a huge deficit going to that third siege, but things just felt a lot more coordinated in comparison, which is really nice to see. And that's what you expect from a very good, like, you know, top tier 2, tier 1 team. You expect that kind of level of consistency. If you've seen very clean matches or just games in general against teams like your Cheer Clan, that's when you know you are making the right moves and right decisions to then push yourself to that next level, like you spoke about before the series even began. But that is the first game. Still waiting for the second one, which will be coming up very shortly. And so far, though, Teddy, Big are looking very good. It can always swing. We've seen it plenty of times, but you know, at this level, it's very hard to swing it back in your favor.
Yeah, you know, especially in Siege. Like, Siege can line itself up for comebacks pretty nicely, but it can also get really tedious and really one-sided. If you end up not really getting that first siege bot and you're not the best at getting those mid retakes, it's gonna be a tough affair. So far, Big Clan will get the first bolt. Second one is picked up by Rama. Should be able to carry it all the way back as well. The next one to Nadine. NG should be able to tie things up, and this is the kind of scenarios where things just get really complicated, because it's gonna be a tie, which means that now we only have 2 siege bots and we have 45 seconds until the next one. Just a lot of added time for the next siege bot, which means that both teams are going to have a ton of bolts. And then it's a tough situation, because either you get the siege bot and you have the siege bot, you have the advantage, but you could be behind by 7, 8, 9, 10 bolts for the next one. We'll see how that goes, but so far both teams are picking up a lot of bolts, so it's looking like one of those very complicated situations.
Yeah, it's very difficult, even in terms of comps as well. Not really much difference, almost a mirror matchup apart from the Max and the Sandy. I think Nadine was actually playing V Max at the time. But still, though, 5 seconds left. They know that they may not be able to get this one. Only 2 volts behind, but it's going to be too little too late as that level 9 siege bot will be progressing now onto the side of Big. So Big, it depends how they're going to be able to defend this. Nadine still quite weak from that last engagement, so is Lars, but it doesn't matter anyway. He's going to see how much damage they can do before they get taken down. Doing a very good job so far. Only on 10,000 HP now, so it's still progressing towards that safe, but now down to 59%. But look at the amount of bolts Big has. It's going to be very, very difficult, very close actually. I feel like your Cheer Clan now need to take almost every single bolt possible in order to be able to catch up from that deficit, but it's looking very, very unlikely now, as already Big have pushed straight on through, just making sure they can't really get every single one going. Nadine's getting ready to pick up that next bolt just to make sure that happens, and of course increase the potential for this next siege bot to cause even more hassle and mayhem going forward. So a level 13 siege bot will be on their way, but will it do enough damage here, Teddy? That's the question.
Yeah, 48% is definitely very realistic. Although Rama does have his super, he's going to go for the pull now. Nadine takes quite a bit of damage, does survive, and I think him surviving here is a big key factor. Here we go. That's going to be enough as Big Clan take set number 1.
Yeah, with that level siege bot, but it's not even about the siege bot itself, it's just beforehand as well. They were at a 10 bolt deficit. When you've got about 30 seconds, it's nigh on impossible. We saw it yesterday as well. You have to literally pick up every single one without fail and have that full map control. And against a team like Big, it doesn't matter who you are, that's a big, big ask. And don't get me wrong, they attempted it, but Big, they didn't even need to get mid control, not fully anyway, just to get their halves sorted and in control so they can pick up a couple here and there, which they did do. And even though your Cheer Clan did pick up a few more than what Big did towards that last minute of the game, of course, yeah, you're not going to be able to do anything about that in the slightest. And, you know, they tried to defending it with the pull and it just was not enough at all. So Big, good start from then. You can see your Cheer Clan played a little bit better, but it was Big what came out on the win in that 2-0 set.
Yeah, a lot more kills and damage overall on the side of Big Clan, which just meant that overall they were more in the center, had more control and space to navigate through to pick up those bolts and ultimately get a couple more siege bots, more important siege bots as well. If you look at game number 2, it was 1 siege bot on each side. It's just that it was a much lower siege bot for Uchiha Clan, plus with the current bolt count, they weren't too sure if they were supposed to go all in or defend, and that's where things start to get messy. Whereas Big Clan, having the third and final siege bot, they could just go in completely, commit, and secure that damage. Undermine is going to be our next map. I think it used to be in the competitive map pool long before I actually started casting, so it's been a long time. Very bushy map. Around the center area, it's a lot more open. You have a couple of walls and bushes to work with as well. Some brawlers that stand out here for me in theory, because I haven't really seen it being played in a hot minute, would be Tara maybe on the lanes. I think Sandy and Crow work pretty well on the lanes. I like Piper mid a lot, not because it's the best mid, but because with her super, if she just wins the mid fight once, she can just push up, destroy the walls, and then it's pretty much GG's. It gets really, really tough to do anything about it, but I don't know, maybe we'll see some different stuff. Nope, the Piper on Rama, Big Clan, are going for something very interesting. They're going for 2 players on the lane, which I guess they could afford to do, because it's two brawlers that have pulls, so even if they don't really get those early gems, they can always just pull them later on and get that kill and those gems.
What I find quite interesting is the fact that you're right though, you know, with the map hasn't been a competitive pool for a while, but the meta has changed in terms of composition and brawlers has changed massively. So I like to see, of course, I don't think it's going to be exactly the same like you mentioned, you know, still seeing the Tara, but just, you know, a few other differences just due to the meta changes on the brawlers themselves, not just the maps. So it's curious to see how things have changed over the last like year or so. But now looking at that so far, Big already with an early lead 6-2 and still have that mid control. Your Cheer Clan have been on the back foot for the last 30 seconds just trying to figure out how to at least take one of these players down on Big so they can play the numbers and then push on through. But Ollie in that bottom left side has been taking so much damage just trying to figure out exactly what kind of opening he can create in order to go on through. But Ram and Ollie were very tempted then, but Nadine and Lars have already pushed straight through and they were looking to go push further, but there's absolutely no need. It is not necessary in the slightest. Nadine can just try and do as much damage as they can before pulling back. And he's already taken out one for himself, taking out Ollie on that left side with the Crow. Lars has taken down NG. And that should be pretty much it here, as there's only a few seconds left remaining, and Big are the ones who take the first game of set number 2.
Good stuff from Big Clan. They look convincing, even though the start was maybe a bit slower in this game and a bit more in the favor of Uchiha. After a couple of seconds, it's already turned around. Big Clan just asserting some solid dominance, going for 2 brawlers that have pulls, pretty much the 2 only brawlers that have like those longer range pulls that can really clutch up, catch an opponent off guard, and play off that positioning. And I think one of the reasons those pulls are going to shine is just because of the bushes, because, you know, you're not going to know that they're aiming their super at you. You're not going to know maybe even if they have their super. If you quickly get the kill while you're in a bush, you might already have your super without your opponents really knowing. And then suddenly out of nowhere, you have a gene pull across the map or a nice double sack from the Tara. So those kinds of X factors did make quite a bit of a difference. And overall, Big just seemed to be winning every lane a bit more consistently, no matter the matchup. Some matchups as well that weren't the easiest, like Crow versus Sandy. I feel like Crow would win most of the time just because it's a bit easier to attack your opponents with that longer range, and then you have information while they're poisoned in the bush, all that good stuff. But yeah, it didn't really last for too long. Same comp from Big and Uchiha Clan. They're gonna copy the Gene instead of the Piper for the middle area, but they will be keeping the Crow rather than the Sandy.
You have to see if these changes actually make any difference here. It should do, especially with the range. I do feel like Rama, there's a few occasions in that last game where he felt like he couldn't really do much. He didn't have the range in order to push on through. And it wasn't just once, it was on numerous occasions. But seems to be doing a lot better now. There's trying to get a bit more of that mid-control. But as I say, that Lars does take down NG in that left lane. So not the best of starts for him. But Rama now still trying to keep Lars back, which he has done, which is a good job from him. And he's picked up 4 gems already. But Big are definitely struggling a bit more now in comparison to that last game. This game, they're getting heavily contested in comparison, where before, Uchiha Clan were always on the back foot on their side. But NG's really pushed up massively here on that left lane. He's taken a huge amount of damage as well, but not before taking out Lars. And even though he was taken down, he was actually traded straight afterwards. But still, though, the gem count, it's full.
Yeah, this is a closer game this time. Lars is gonna get pulled all over to pick up that kill. And we have very left and right positioning here, reminding me a bit of what you could see on Canal Grande or Ice Fort, for example, where the traditional top and bottom team ended up playing more on the sides. This seems to be the case right now, as everyone is grouped up for Uchiha. That does mean that if Nadine gets up close, yup, that's gonna be an easy double kill. Lars gets pulled and killed, but look at Big. They're still chilling with Sugar on the 10 gems, and they are just uncontested here. Uchiha can't even get anywhere close. Big Clan with set number 2 secured. It's a 2-0 lead, and they only need one more set to pick up this win and go to the winner's match.
This match is escalating much quicker compared to yesterday. Everyone was a game 3, went to the full 15 plus the 2 tires and Brawl Ball as well. Couldn't make up if you tried, but this is a completely different story in comparison to yesterday's matches. And also what we expected this time round as well. So, you know, you could see that Uchiha Clan, they put up a much better performance. The changes in terms of their comp and what they want to do with it was better. They contested middle better as well. But again, Big, after, you know, a minute or 2 of play, they managed to establish what they wanted to do in order to push on through and just continue collecting those gems. And you saw there as well, right at the very end, it was just a shame, but Uchiha Clan got completely team wiped in the process of collecting those gems to, you know, start off the countdown. So by then, all on respawn, you've got absolutely no chance of coming back from that, no matter how fast you try and get to the other side of the map. And you can see here, kills, Big, doubled the kills in comparison. That's completely understandable. Damage count 12,000 more, bit more map presence. You'd think it was a little bit more, or should have been at least another 10 or 20,000 more, considering the amount of damage Big did on that first map. But it shows you Uchiha Clan probably did out damage him in that second game, but couldn't really get the kills to follow on through. So you saw a couple of players, they didn't have that been able to play the numbers advantage or numbers game at all. So some of them did try to overextend just to force out the situation. Didn't really happen for them, sadly, but that is already 2 sets finished off. And now we are going to do a bit of heist on safe zone for set number 3, and potentially the last set here for the side of Yuchia Clan, as you know, they are on the brink of going into that elimination match.
Yeah, it's getting a bit dangerous, and it's a pretty slippery slope from here on for Uchiha. They need to win every single set, as Big is leading by 2 sets right now. The overlay still says 1, but keep in mind it is 2. So if they pick this one up, it's already gonna be over. Nadine taking some long-range damage, but look at that. Lars is able to beam down Engie, and this is already Big Clan with a lot more center control.
So they have done indeed. And Rama just trying to control that map as much as he can with that collect. Managed to do a bit of damage as well. So he's done a tickle here, Teddy, just a tickle, 13% just to keep him back and keep him afar for now, as Yuchia Clan's shown a lot better performance in comparison, doing a lot more damage as well. But Lars is pushing that left side with that Colt to see how much damage he can. He has done quite a lot to Engie here. Rama could get taken down in the process as well, depending on who's going to be pushing from that right side, which is Nadine, but will not be able to take him out. But also at the same time does do a little bit of damage to Yuchia Clan's safe as well. But look at that though, Yuchia Clan looking much better here, Teddy, but the question is, can they continue to keep this up?
Yeah, it's definitely not an easy task for them. It's a pretty decent lead, but on this map it can go really quickly. Like if everything aligns and they start getting like 1 or 2 kills at the same time, maybe even 3, then suddenly you can take 30-40% damage, especially facing something like a Colt and a Colette. On the other hand, Sprout, for example, doesn't quite have as much burst. This is a good super to get things a bit closer. Nadine is low HP, but he's still standing, and that's, you know, why the Byron is going to be so helpful at just staying alive. Sugar looking to find Rama is going to miss his super. That is a costly mistake, but they do manage to deal with the threat. Nadine hits his super, and it's going to get healed up by Sugar as well to remain alive. It's a close affair, only a 19% difference, but the clock is ticking down and everything is getting more and more dangerous for both teams.
Yeah, it's a shame that Rama did miss that super. The only thing you can say about that is the fact that he at least wasted 15-20 seconds just keeping Big at bay. But this is going to be their moment to now try and make that push. But how much more do they want to delay? They need to push in if they can and try and do additional damage. Look at that, down to 31, 28%. Surely that's said and done. Yes, it is. Just on the brink there. Lars only on 300 something HP towards the end, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't even need to collect to do extra damage. That was perfectly fine as Lars came in with that Colt and did the damage which was necessary. So yeah, very, very close. Yuchia again looked a lot better, but again, you know, couldn't really close it out. Maybe if Rama did hit that super, like you said earlier, I think it does about 13% with 1 super. So actually that would have equaled the percentages.
Yeah, man, it was a really, really close affair. Towards the end, Big Clan did manage to show up a bit more at the moment that mattered the most, which did win them the game ultimately. But yeah, I think this was the best shot for Uchiha Clan to pick up a game. Keep in mind, they haven't picked up a single game yet. It's been 5 games in a row for Big Clan, from first to last, if they manage to win the next one here, as it is match point, and they only need 1 more game to go to the winners match and just be 1 step closer to those playoffs.
It feels weird, like the fact that it's been so one-sided. I thought they would have at least scraped 1 or 2 games in these sets. A 3-0 I can believe, but not to this extent. And you know, they've been getting better and better in each set, but there's no point getting better and better and not being able to close out these games. It's just a real shame that that one small mistake from Rama may have actually cost him. But then again, he did do a very good job wasting so much time in that left lane, keeping Big back, and that was why they had to do a very structured, coordinated push towards the very end, which was very, very lucky. But it doesn't matter in the end, as they will push through, as Sugar's trying to push him with that Pam to see if he can do anything else. And looks like Nadine's actually switched to the Poco as well.
Yeah, Poco is not something you see very often in Siege, but once in a while you do. And It's mostly due to Poco being extremely strong in the game, and on those kind of open maps, having that extra sustain can really go a long way. Great super from Rama. You love to see it when a Colette goes for a super and then instantly has her next super already available. She's gonna try to target that one at the save. Will do just that. Sugar gets melted down. A bit too confident there, a bit too aggressive. And it is all tied up. Rama, maybe, no time for the next super. Lars, on the other hand, survives to get another shot to connect.
Yeah, again, a lot of patience from Big, but also a lot better map control. As now finally your cheer clan being pushed all the way back to their side. Only down by 10%, so they've still got plenty of time, still got a minute 10 left, but Sugar's just dealing so much damage with that Pam on the right side, but Ollie's actually taking down Lars, so this is their opportunity now to push up on mid. Nadine now still trying to stay alive without Poco, if he's got heal or not, and Sugar's pushed all the way in, and now he's going to see if he can do as much damage as possible on the side of your cheer clan, and a couple of them, only, I think Engie was there at the time, and Ollie just respawned, so it gave Sugar a chance to actually be able to inflict even more damage, and even after all that, your cheer clan are only up by 12% as we couldn't see the action on that top side, understandably. And now this is where problems are going to occur. Only 40 seconds left, and now your cheer clan need to figure out a way to break through, and that could be it as Rama managed to take down one. Rama's still trying to inflict more damage, but Sugar's got so much HP, especially from doing so much damage against Rama early on. And as you can see, their percentages have dwindled even more in comparison. Only a 3% difference, but even more damage has been done as Ollie's still taking some shots from that mid side, and it means that Big will have to push straight through unless he actually stops Ollie in the pressure, which he has done, but it's just too little too late. And speaking of Denver, your cheer clan first game on the board. A little bit late, but better late than never here, Teddy.
Yeah, I was gonna say a bit late to join the server, but I guess you gotta start somewhere, especially if you're looking at a full-on reverse sweep ahead of you. You might as well just get started at some point, and I guess this is the moment where Uchiha clan decided to really get involved in this match. Big clan, you know, they're still at match point, let's be honest here. From what we've seen so far, I don't really believe in the comeback. It does look like a pretty one-sided affair, but you never know. At some point, you know, those kind of teams, they are at a level where they are extremely good at the game, but they aren't the most experienced and competitive either. They haven't been under so much pressure thousands of times, like some of the tier 1 teams like SK, like Clash, Tribe, etc. So they will get a bit more emotional, and they will start to kind of fall apart once you put a bit too much pressure on them. When they start losing control of the situation, you can start to have a bit more mind games and really play with their morale a lot more. So momentum and all that kind of stuff is extremely important for those kind of matches. And Uchiha, if they want to get started somewhere, they need to win this next game. Otherwise, once again, it would be the end of the journey. But things could be lining up for a comeback. I just don't really believe in it just yet.
Yeah, I don't either. I have to echo what you said. Yeah, it has been one-sided throughout the entire time. One game doesn't make us change our thought process and go, okay, you know, it has been very one-sided the entire time apart from that one particular game. But I'm also interested in what comp Big is going to use. I can briefly see a Piper and the Colt as well. I was trying to see what the other side as well, but because they did previously have the Poco and the Pam, didn't they? But it looks like they've completely switched across, and Lars is obviously still on that Colt as well, just causing a lot of grief and mayhem to Ollie. Still doing a huge amount of damage here. I wouldn't be surprised if he pushed in or maybe try and finish him off with the Piper, but 44 HP. Surely, Lars, it's just a matter of time you get to clean him up if he's able to, but Ollie actually managed to retaliate and take him down there.
Yeah, nice stuff. A bit of a lead for Big Clan, and Uchiha are going to have to be pretty careful about that one. Nadine with some good snipes. Nadine, very well known for his Piper, hasn't had a chance to really play her until now. It was a percent damage dealt on Big save. Uchiha will need a lot more if they want to stand a chance.
It certainly will do indeed. Sugar already causing more mischief, taking down NG. Nadine takes down Ollie, and now Rama and NG are just trying to keep him at bay, but they can't. Nas is doing so well on that left lane, and with Nadine just supporting him with that Piper, just doing that damage from range in case Nas doesn't finish him off with the Colt. It's been a really, really well coordinated pushes here and there, and already you feel like your cheer clan, it's just even more one-sided than we saw in these previous two games. Nadine takes down NG again, and Nadine at the same time managed to pull back and takes down Ramit as well. And Ollie's the last one out of the three of them to go on through, but can he even finish Nadine here? He's done a lot of damage, and Lars is trying to push him with that Colt to finish Ollie off. He's only on 916 HP, but he is recovering and is waiting for everyone else to push through. Still got that respawn immunity to try and block anything off, but they have done a significant amount of damage. But again, still looking at the percentages, still got another 48% to try, sorry, another 38% more in order to tie things up. But so far so good, and a lot better from Big.
Yeah, this is a really good situation for them, considering, you know, looking at the HP, the damage, and the fact that they actually just closed it out and secured their spot in the winner's match. Incredible stuff from Big Clan. One of their most convincing performances so far. You know, they have faced better teams. They have won against even better teams. But Uchiha Clan is still a nice victory. It is the result we expected. Maybe a bit more one-sided than we expected.
Yeah, Big are one of those teams where, you know, they're slowly becoming that tier 1, high tier 2 kind of team. Well, they're high tier 2 anyway, bottom tier 1. But yeah, you're right. You've seen them take some games off some of the top teams. You've seen them take the odd game or two off EXO. There's taking a game or two of SK as well in the past. So they have shown promise. And the fact that, you know, they stomp Uchiha Clan, it's not really too much of a surprise here, because the amount of practice they've put in and the amount of times they've done so well against some of these tier 1 teams over the past in the competitive scene, it doesn't really surprise us about the fact that they've taken this series 3-0. And, you know, with a winner's match, it wouldn't be a surprise either if we saw a similar scoreline, but it just depends on the circumstances between Fight Club and Kozaki later on. But just looking at the particular set stats, Big almost doubling Uchiha Clan's kills, and damage-wise, Uchiha Clan were a lot better, but again, just couldn't clean up a lot of couldn't clean up their food, you could say here, Teddy. And we're looking at the match stats, and overall, again, almost double the kills. Damage-wise, you can see about 65,000 more, which is a large difference when you think about it, about almost 15%. And the brawlers, again, pretty standard. Jean and the Barley, Colt, Colette, and the Barley again. So yeah, again, not really too much of a surprise here. But Teddy, we are going to go into our second match very shortly, but not just yet. In a few more minutes, so wait for you guys to see exactly what's going to happen. We've seen the first series already. That was a clean sweep 3-0, but we're going to leave you with a little highlights package before we go into our second match of the day. Welcome back, everyone. We are about to start our second match of the day very shortly between Fight Club 2 and Kozaki. Joining me, Teddy, as always. And tell me about these two teams. We know we're not as strong as potentially, the other match we've just seen before. That should have been a winner's match, or maybe like even trying to go for top 12, top 8 in international finals. But tell me about these two teams in general from what you know.
Yeah, we were surprised, to be honest, by the performance of those two teams. Especially myself, I'm not the biggest expert in some of those regional qualifiers. We're talking about Ukraine here for FA Kozaki and Turkey for Fight Club 2. I think that I was more impressed by Fight Club 2 because they had some pretty solid matches in their group stage. It's really hard to tell those two teams apart. I think this is going to be the hardest match of the day to tell any teams apart and really separate them. But yeah, I'm probably gonna slightly favor Fight Club 2, but it's two teams that I haven't seen play against each other. I haven't seen play against similar teams a lot either. And just in general, I haven't seen them all that much. We're talking about Sem, U4O, and X for FA Kozaki, Baba Pro 31, Zenkai, and Arki for Fight Club 2. If you look at the brawlers, I feel like Max is being played quite a lot. You can see Sam and Archie going for it quite a bit. A lot more Gene on the side of U4O. And overall, if you look at FA Kozaki, they're going to be wanting to go Gene, Max, Sandy as much as they can. Whereas I feel like there's a bit more versatility in the comps on the side of Fight Club 2, especially Baba Pro, that pretty much plays anything he needs to fill through, even being comfortable stealing a couple of those picks from his teammates as well. Say Zenkai doesn't really feel like playing the stew, then Baba Pro is going to be able to fill in. And that just leaves a bit more versatility in the comps, a couple more possibilities. But you also want to make sure that you have everything to be comfortable. If that means that you can't play a Gene here for Fight Club 2, which does seem like they haven't really brought him to the table all that much in the group stage, those kind of moves could get a bit scary.
Yeah, the bans are going to be interesting later on. Even if Sem brings out the Mortis, like just on certain plays, or he wants to make a certain change in the comps, that'd be interesting as well. Just looking at head-to-head between Sem and Archie. Just having a quick look. Kill count, I think, is what stands out here, Teddy, massively in comparison.
Yeah.
Literally 51 more kills in comparison. But then again, you can see that Sem's probably played a couple more games, and it could be different roles as well. There's a lot to take into account because even the damage counter as well was actually huge. So either Sem's, it could be just the fact that it's a different role, or it could be the fact that Sem's just an absolute damn monster, Teddy. It's one of the two, and I'm sure we'll find out very shortly. And going back just to Kozaki, the team overall, because they had a very tough group, but the only stats you can go by is the fact that Kozaki did actually take down Chernobyl Dribblers at the time 3-0 quite convincingly, and they did take a game off AC Milan Clash as well. So there's a little bit of indication of what to expect, but if what you're saying is true as well about Fight Club 2 and how tough their group was and how they've been able to proceed, we should see a really top class game here depending on the circumstances.
Yeah, it could really go either way. I think it's going to depend a lot on the form of the players today, how prepared they are, how good their aim and mechanics are. They got to bring their A game, but it seems like we have our bans ready. Let's give them a quick look. Bell on both sides, so blind bans means that only Bell is going to be banned. This is going to be interesting. I do remember seeing a lot more Stu being played by Fight Club, so I think they're going to be pretty happy about that. I feel like Fight Club banning a Gene would have been a really smart move because they didn't really play it before, and Kozaki relied very heavily on it. So we'll see if that is going to be any impactful. But yeah, I think you're right. Overall, Kozaki is probably the better team. I was mostly just more impressed by Fight Club 2, having never heard of them before. That they played so well in the group stage. So maybe it impressed me a bit too much. But we do have our maps: Sunny Soccer, Deep Diner, Bot Riot, Split, and Snake Assault. Everything but Bounty for this matchup. I feel like this could either be very one-sided or become a very close affair. I don't really see too many in-betweens here.
Yeah, it's very difficult to kind of not just discuss, but analyze exactly what kind of approach we can have in order to decide how it's going to go between these two teams. Like, I'm not really a kind of person who likes to go by stats alone, and I like to look more analytically through their games to decide exactly, like, you know, what kind of approach they have in comparison to their opponents. But again, you know, just looking back, the fact that against a couple of tier 1 teams, they put up a very decent fight from what we expected, or, you know, in terms of, like, that's a little bit of a surprise. We'll have to see. But yeah, the maps though, Sunny Soccer, Deep Diner, Bot Riot, Split, and Snake Assault will be your 5-map series, or your 5-set series, shall we say, going ahead between these two teams of Kozaki and Fight Club 2. And I want to see what Fight Club 2 can do here. You know, you did say that the fact that, you know, a lot of these teams are, you know, national based in terms of qualifying, so for some of them it's going to be a real tall order against a few of these teams. Kozaki just seems to be good just from group stages alone. It's annoying because of the fact that that's all we can go by statistically. But normally, if you can take a game off a tier 1 team, or, you know, you do really well against a tier 3 team, like, you know, literally clean them up with ease in a very clean sweep series, then it's hard to not, you know, be against them in terms of prediction.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Kozaki have showed us some pretty good stuff. I think the question is, were they in an excellent form on that day? Was it a bit of a miracle run? Can they reproduce that today as well? Because they will need it, not only against Fight Club 2, but even if they win this one, the winner's match is going to be even tougher. The loser match is still going to be quite a challenge. So, man, it's a challenging group here, one of the tougher ones in this second group stage. It is going to calm down tomorrow, I think, with a bit more. When I say calm down, I just mean that, you know, the teams are a bit at a similar level. And then I believe on Thursday it's back to some madness again. But yeah, focusing on today, this is probably the least predictable match we have of the day. The outcome after this one is going to be a bit more logical, at least on paper, right? So this is the big one. This is the big surprise for us as well, and we'll find out soon enough what hides underneath it.
Yeah, very exciting stuff. Hopefully it won't be a 3-0 series. I don't think it will be, but, you know, Big Clan are just a lot more established in terms of their team in general in a competitive scene. So it makes a lot more sense where they have a lot more convincing victories. Even if someone is, you know, slightly less skilled, even by the smallest margin, it can make a huge impact and detriment to your to how you actually try and place yourselves in certain tournaments. So it makes sense as to why, you know, they're a lot more structured and a lot more prepared. But, you know, when you look at teams that are slightly less tiered, even though the skill cap is quite small, and normally it can be quite close and can swing both ways. And even with the competitive map pool, things can change up. So we'll have to see. But, you know, statistically, Kozaki should technically, you know, take this one. Don't know how convincing, but we'll have to see as it goes and as it happens, as the momentum swings both on each team. But Fight Club 2, I'd love to see more from them. You know, we know they rode a little bit of the struggle bus in the stage 1 and managed to get here anyway by any means necessary. And what can they do here? Again, you know, they're like you cheer clan. They really need to come out the gate strong to start off with. But against a team like Kozaki, it's going to be a tall order here.
Yeah, it is going to be a challenging on both sides. I think that once again, momentum is going to be quite a factor, and they're going to try to get it as soon as possible, roll with it as much as possible. You know, those teams, they are probably not going to scrim quite as much as some of the other higher tier teams, just because they have, you know, less super strong opponents to scrim against. They might be a bit less committed to the game as well, just, you know, because if you're a pro player, you're doing this full time, you have more time to allocate to the game, which does mean that, you know, having a fresher start is going to be very important. The gadget gonna get pumped on both Sandys. This is a good situation for Kozaki early on the path to U4-0, and that's already gonna be the goal.
It will be indeed already a goal there for Kozaki. Very surprising stuff, but then again, we did spoke about it before, and see what they can do here as they push on forward. As X is on that left side, U4-0 has already got the ball. He's going to try and push it on through with that Max as well. Done a fair bit of damage, not before taken down by Archie. and it's already been taken again. So he's going to try and push it on through. But has he got enough HP to even just slide it? It should be a problem here. And yes, he managed to score. So very quick from what we expected here.
Yeah, Kozaki starting off strong against Fight Club 2, able to just, get 2 quick goals in a row, not really too much of a challenge. I feel like the second one was a bit more challenging, but even then it was pretty straightforward. Not too much to say so far, except Kozaki just especially mechanically able to win a lot of those 1v1s interactions, opening up the map a bit more, opening up the opportunities, and then just seizing them, immediately capitalizing off them, and finding some goals. So textbook from Kozaki, very beautiful gameplay. We'll see if Fight Club 2 can challenge them more in the future, if maybe some comp changes can come in place. But honestly, I feel like the comps were pretty even. There wasn't like any big flaws or big advantages. It was mostly just Kozaki steamrolling through them.
Yeah, it's just outskilled, outplayed, really. At the end of the day, it doesn't really much to say. Mate, I didn't even get a chance to digest that game, let alone actually be able to witness exactly what was going on. It was so quick and makes a nice change because, we've been seeing constant tie brawl balls yesterday. Now we're seeing quite fast-paced action to, solidify that win. But that was scary. That was worrying as well, to considering what we just saw there, how quickly, they managed to demolish the side of Fight Club 2. How we're going to respond to that, it's very difficult, not just for them, their opponents, but just for themselves, because like I said, it's quite hard to digest. What changes do they need to make? Is it a completely different comp they want to try and do? It's hard to tell. It was a complete mirror matchup. You have no excuses really, apart from yourselves, to decide on what changes need to be made. But I'll be interested to see what Fight Club do to try and fight back, and, well, let's be honest, even try and fight back after that first game.
Yeah, if that first game was the tone of this match, then yeah, it's gonna be a quick one. But who knows? Maybe Fight Club, they need some time to really get started off, to get comfortable, and to get that later pop off in this series. But in Brawl Stars, you never want to start too late. It can get pretty tedious to break that momentum, to get things going, especially when you feel like your opponents are just so much better than you. This is just off one game. Nothing is set in stone just yet, but look at that. Poco Tank Mortis on the side of Kozaki. And okay, did they just leave the ball in front of the goal? I'm super confused what happened there.
I felt like they did, but I didn't want to call it. I'm glad you said it rather than I did. And even the comp changes as well, it seems like Fight Club 2 just went straight and just literally stuck with the same comp, and then they just went with the Frank and the Mortis and one other as well. So yeah, it's a little bit of a shock in terms of the changes. It was the Poco as well, which is the last change they made, so a completely different comp entirely. We'll have to see what they can do now, as Sem is already trying to push up with that Mortis, and X is just waiting on that Frank to see where they're going to go with that ball. But I think U4O just is thinking to themselves, well, let's just push that ball back into the corner in case they do win this next engagement. And if they do, then great, they can pick it back up, get mid-control, and just do one more team wipe before pushing in for the second goal. If not, it doesn't matter. They've got enough time to waste to then respawn and recuperate from their last actions. So X is now already pulling all the way back. U4O has been taken down, but as you can see, Baba Pro's pushed in as fast as possible to take up that Frank. Sem is just waiting for them to push towards that ball. And this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes, yeah, fair enough, you waste a little bit more time, have to go back for the ball, but at the end of the day, even if they're in that situation, wouldn't have time to score due to the respawn time. So lucky for them, it was a good play. They managed to get a team wipe for themselves. U4O cleans up Archie at the end, and now the ball is being pushed across to the middle and towards the side of Fight Club.
Yeah, super from X. Well, doesn't really matter. Sam is just able to walk it in, and Kozaki pick up that set. Pretty convincing stuff so far. Not too much of a challenge. And yeah, I'm just hoping things can change around a bit for Fight Club, because so far Brawl was not too much of a challenge for Kozaki. They could pretty much just do whatever, play some a funny Poco Tank Mortis comps here as well, bringing in the Frank and such. I feel like this game, the final game, was a bit of a comp mistake from Fight Club 2. Like, sure, I love Gene, Sandy, Max. I think it's a really strong trio, but I do feel like in Brawl, where you are likely to see some Poco double tanks or those kind of shenanigans, you need something to deal with it, whether it's going to be an Ems or a B or anything along those lines that can slow things down a bit and deal with those tanks. You need it. And they didn't have anything of that, and that just means that if your opponents go for something along the lines of Poco and tanks, you just can't defend off that.
No, you can't at all. It was, it wasn't even methodical or calculated. It was just super, super quick strategic methods they used to push straight in. The only thing I was a bit surprised about is the fact that Fight Club 2 stuck with the same comp. I thought because they got outplayed in a mirror match, I was assuming that maybe they would be the ones to make the change, and maybe on the other side it would be on the side of Kozaki would actually make a change. But to be fair, it was actually Kozaki made a change in, like you said, with the Poco and the tanks as well, and it just played really well into the hands. A little bit slower paced, but I feel like the strategies they used in the first game wasn't going to work. Same thing twice. They would have been a little bit more prepared for that, even though we didn't get time to digest all of that. But we will be going to Deep Diner as the second set on Gem Grab. And we'll see if we can make a little bit of difference here. But Kozaki, what a dominating performance. You'd think this is one of the first matches in Stage 1, the way they played.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, if they were in maybe a bit of a fairer group for them, they could have already been in the playoffs. This is pretty impressive so far. Is it going to be enough later on? Let's just assume they win this match here. Is it going to be enough to win against, Big Clan, Uchiha Clan, those kind of teams? I feel like they could actually have a shot against Uchiha. So far, they look at a similar level. I don't think it's quite enough to take down Big Clan just yet, but who knows? Maybe they still have more to show us later on, more shenanigans, more interesting comps or strategies. We'll just find that out with time. I guess, one of the advantage of what they've been playing so far is they've been playing some pretty standard brawlers that are not too map specific or don't involve any crazy strategies. So it's kind of hard to, take a lot of information out of that.
It's going to hurt Fight Club in general, just all their players. The fact that they got pretty pounded in a mirror match, it kind of says it all, really. They can't really say, this change would have happened, this change would have happened, because really it wouldn't. And, shouldn't get defeated that quickly. And we're going to see if Fight Club 2 can now make any difference or any changes, sadly on both sides. But we've got the Poco and the Mortis on the side of Kozaki, and we've seen how good they've been with that Mortis, especially in that Brawl set early on. And we'll see if we can continue that, as Sem did so well and got so many kills throughout the entire course of that, and already he's going straight in and gets another kill on Archie.
Yeah, so far so good for Kozaki, as Fight Club 2 need to fight off for that middle control. Dash in from Sam. He's gonna go down and give them a gem. Nice pull onto U4O, a bit of an overextension perhaps here. U4O falls, and he's gonna just give away all the gems to Fight Club 2. I would say that this was more of a mistake on the side of Kozaki than an incredible play or anything like that from Fight Club, but they managed to capitalize of it, which is what matters ultimately. But Kozaki, once again, they have full center control. They just need to be careful not getting pulled this time, but look at that. That's a beautiful play from Sam. And that is going to be the countdown starting as U4O is going to pick up 10 gems. And now look at how much space they have. Fight Club 2, they're just assessing two people over there to slow them down. I think they went down quite a bit quicker than what I expected. It was 3 seconds left, no pool, nothing available. It is Kozaki to pick up this game and just widen up that lead furthermore.
I like U4O. He's a funny lad. Very funny lad indeed. I think, one of the mistakes you mentioned with U4O when he overextended, let's be honest, I think if he played against a team with a slightly higher caliber, I don't think he would have even made that decision in the first place, would he? He's just having a little bit of a giggle with his opponents, and that's a strong indication for, I smell a 3-0. So we have to see how these next sets go on and this next game as well. Sem on that Mortis just seems like a real pain in the backside. I think they're struggling to kind of counter that, but also at the same time, a couple of players on Fight Club 2 are putting themselves in that position to get taken down by Sem in that 1v1, and especially on that left lane. And if you're going to keep doing that to yourself, then it's not really too much of a surprise. You need to have a real good team to coordinate the attack in order to take down Sem in the process. But if you're going to leave yourself open like that, what do you expect, really?
Yeah, I agree. I think that we had some mistakes from Kozaki this game, maybe getting a bit too confident, which is something they need to be careful about. Fight Club 2 were able to capitalize of it a little bit with a nice gene pool, but that was about it. After that, they were just, stuck in their spawn. And sure, they had 5 gems, but that's still quite a way until you get 10 and you get a countdown started. So they need some sort of way to get control, and it just doesn't seem to be working out whatsoever against Kozaki thus far.
Yeah, it's been very strange, and we thought that there was an indication where Kozaki should win this just based on stats alone, but this is a lot more than we kind of still trying to digest because of how quick some of these games have been. But is there anything you feel like Fight Club need to change in terms of their style in order to push this back? Because I kind of feel like if this was like offline, if this was on LAN and they saw Kozaki like reacting how they're reacting and having a bit of a giggle, would normally morale-wise would just be like, well, Jesus, if they're doing all this and they're still having a bit of a laugh, then what more can we do, really? But obviously they can't see how they're reacting, so they're obviously still taking this very seriously, making sure they can try and come back from this. But is there any changes you've noticed which seems to be needs to be made, or do you feel like there's so many mistakes being made from the side of Fight Club 2 that it's just going to be a one-way struggle bus trip?
I feel like it's a bit of the latter so far, where their comps are alright. It's not like they're being problematic. They could go for some riskier stuff and try to surprise them, but it is a best of 5. You can't just pull off one a crazy risky comp and then suddenly expect to win the whole match, right? So I don't know. I would say so far, just make the most out of this one. I already feel like it's gonna be a bit of a challenge, but look at this. At least we have something a bit different with this Max and Poco on the side of Fight Club 2. We'll see if they can put that to good use so far. Definitely the best start we've seen them have yet.
Yeah, completely agree so far. It's a good start from them, but they've been pushed all the way back here. The question is, how are they going to be able to respond? They've, again, very fast pace from this team of Kozaki. They don't really like to muck around. They like to make a very fast, quick decision and then just employ it straight away. And Zenkai almost got taken down, but manages to stay alive there. He was on 56 HP, and Baba Pro was looking for more, but he's had to back away clearly due to the respawn immunity of Hyofuro and X. But how are they going to respond again? 7-1 in terms of gens. They know that Archie is the one they need to try and aim for if they can. And Hyofuro pushed in between most of the players there and still got away with not really taking too much damage in the process. And again, you see with the Poco just pushing ever so slightly. The Stu had to pull back as well. Completely understandable. Now it is 7-3. And what do Kozaki want to do? Do they want to continue keeping that mid control and collecting the gems until it's 10-7? No, of course not. They're already going straight in and getting a few more of these kills. Hyofuro pulling back with 284. Just managed to barely get away from the skin of his teeth. And X still on the 2 gems as well, as now the tables have turned here, Teddy, and Kozaki is up 8-5.
Yeah, a good pull on Archie could make the difference, and Sam is looking to get that one. He's gonna connect it indeed, and this is gonna be countdown. Now Sam needs to stay alive with one of his teammates. See, one of the lower gem carriers can afford to go down, but it seems like they might not, even as we get another team wipe and Kozaki secures set number 2.
Yeah, a little bit better, but not really changing the fact that they were to win that towards the end quite comfortably in comparison. So at least they put up a better fight. But the series score doesn't lie here, Teddy. 2-0 now in the series in this match. And now you can feel like for Fight Club, it's, knocking on death's door here in terms of that match scoreline. It could be headed into that 3-0. But put, a little bit of fight back in that second game. It did seem to be, a lot more consistent in terms of coordination, but it still just was not enough. You can tell Hyofuro is still having a bit of a giggle on cam, there's known, but when people are reacting like that, you can clearly see what the scoreline is going to be. But commiserations to Fight Club 2 so far. They did put a better fight in back in stage 1, and did a little bit better performance in this game, but still they have one more set, maybe even 3 more, to try and return the favor to Kozaki. And looking at the stats, double the kills. Damage-wise, Kozaki and Fight Club almost the same. Fight Club getting more damage actually still, which is pretty interesting enough, but doesn't change the scoreline at all.
Yeah, it really doesn't, does it? And it's been a bit of a tough matchup so far for Fight Club. I'm not so sure how they have more damage because they were the ones with the Poco as well. Oh, there was a Poco in the first game of the set, right? I
Yeah.
believe, plus the gene, so maybe a bit more heals. So they tanked off more damage. That's one of the reasons why I don't love damage indication in the game, because if you're playing a healer comp, for example, you might dominate through the match but still take more damage, but it's just getting healed, right? So do you actually really take more damage? You know what I mean? Because you're, healing it up immediately. Whereas your damage, if your opponents don't have any heals, well, it actually really goes towards a kill. Not so sure, but Bot Riot is going to be up next. One of my best surprises of Gamestars, to be honest, because I had never casted any Bot Riot, in the past, and I started to really enjoy watching this map. I think it's a ton of fun. I really like the tree lanes separated with some walls and bushes. It just leaves a lot of possibilities brawler-wise and a lot of fun to watch.
Well, now's your opportunity, Teddy. Now you can actually cast it with me. So don't worry, it'll be my first time, obviously, as well, because then we're going into this. But speaking of Devil, not just it's the first time you cast in this map, but this could be the last map we cast in the series as well, depending if the team on Fight Club 2 can pull the finger out and make something happen here. And there's just way too many changes. There's using your individual initiative to make something happen in some of these games, but the fact that the whole team are doing it at such a high tempo, it's a real struggle to try and even try and fight back. It's kind of like Chernobyl Dribble is in terms of their aggression, but instead this is quite a very well established controlled aggression, like strategic aggression. Is you can't stop that sometimes when someone's grinding that much and they're screaming and got so many plans to attack. It's just very difficult to try and figure out like what they can do here. I'm sure they're thinking the same as well, like trying to figure out if there's any light bulbs or any ideas they have in order to figure things out. But looking at the picks, I'm pretty sure it is a mirror matchup between both these teams. So either way, we'll have to see what they can do, as Fight Club 2 really need to get this game going and get this first game win, maybe even a first set win. But can they do it? That's going to be another question going into this third set.
Yeah, so far the better start is on the side of Kozaki as they get the first siege bot, and we'll get a couple spare bolts as well to keep a bold lead, keep control after this siege bot. Not gonna look to overcommit to this first siege bot. They do have a Barley, which can deal some nice damage on the Ike. And wait, are they actually diving this one? They're going for it and they're gonna win it. Okay.
Okay, I know with the Barley it does like a fair amount of extra damage, but yeah, that was a little bit strange. Do you know what? I was actually sitting back thinking, okay, let's just get ready for the next siege bot and how we're going to control mid to get the additional bolts. And yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'm glad I wasn't the only one who's gobsmacked or flabbergasted in any way by what we just saw. But okay, that was a very quick bot right game. It's not what I assume. I'm sure that's definitely not what you assumed either. Maybe the fact that they heard that you've never casted bot right, they don't really want to give you a chance to even get a word in edgeway about it, How dare they?
Yeah, I'm very disappointed. I really like Bot Riot. I just want to get to cast some more, and they were just there like, let's just end this one and get to match point, finish this match really quickly. Yeah, you don't see that every day, such a convincing start, especially since they started diving and really committing. Like, I think the first brawler that got some damage on the Ike, besides the Barley, was when the siege bot was at like 40% health. Like, a level 3 siege bots, like, that's really quite a commitment. And honestly, it wasn't even close towards the end. Like, all the players were full HP pretty much when they took down the Ike. So I'm impressed. I did not really see that as a viable opportunity, but I guess that a lot of teams, they just assume because the meta is to fall back and not overcommit so that you can keep control. A lot of teams, they might actually play it a bit too safe in defense because of it, focus a bit too much on the siege bot, and then suddenly you have 3 guys right in front of you that take you down. Level 4 siege bot to kick things off for Kozaki. They will still keep the bold lead as well for the next one. This is an even better start. We'll see if they can actually one-push this one as well.
Yeah, let's see if we witness a repeat performance compared to last time. The Barley trying to get a few shots off already. X take down Zenkai in the process, and he's taken down Archie, and already it's down to 53%. It's not going to be a one-off job here, Teddy. But it doesn't matter though, as the damage has already been done. 47% off with the first siege spot is still very, very good. It's just a matter of how they can continue with this map control. As Archie's pushing around that left side and has taken down X thanks to Bubba Pro. And now Sem needs to wait and stick by if he can. But sadly, Archie actually takes him down in the process as Sem is taken down. U4O is the last man trying to pull back to the rest of his team as they're trying to respawn, left on 672 HP. But U4O does take down Zenkai whilst this level 5 siege spot is in the process of making its way down south towards Kozaki's safe at the moment.
Yeah, so far good defense and no one from Fight Club 2 committing whatsoever. It was a really good retake earlier and a really good control from Fight Club. I'm very impressed. But is that gonna be enough? Well, we will find out as they battle it out for our third and final siege bot. Zenkai is still alive and he's causing a lot of trouble. But look at that, out of nowhere, team wipe, and suddenly Kozaki is full on control, 10 seconds left. They are gonna get the final siege bot since they already have more damage already. Yeah, it's pretty much a win, isn't it, for Kozaki? 3-0 in sets. And actually, they didn't drop a single game. This was the closest one so far, and yet it's another a game in the bag. Look at that. They're just lag walking around the map.
How is U4O not broken his chair yet? I must have had a few chairs in his time. Don't give him a chair sponsorship because he'll probably break that one as well. But yeah, you're right. Kozaki win that very cleanly. 3-0 in series scoreline. Only dropped, I think, one game in the process, or did they not drop any games? I'll be honest, it went so quick. Yeah, you might be right. I thought they might have dropped one game in set 2, but maybe that was actually the last match. I'm getting so confused. See, these matches are going so fast now, Teddy. I can't even keep up at this point. It's ridiculous to say the least. It's because it's a much faster day from what we saw yesterday, where we saw those, max amount of games in the second set and the first set. We all went to game 3 anyway, when it was a 3-0 yesterday. But as yesterday, let's talk a bit more today. So already, so far, Kozaki will be in that winners match and will be playing against Big later on in the winners match to determine a straight off position in the international finals qualification, or if they will drop down to the decider match. But don't worry, as you can see with Fight Club 2, they're not completely out yet. They will have to play against Uchiha Clan, which is a very good team by no means, to fight for a decider match. And if they lose the next one, they will be going straight out and eliminated, sadly for them. So they've still got one more chance. It's just a matter of what they can do there, as it will be a battle for survival between Uchiha Clan and the side of Fight Club 2 later on. We saw the stats there for the set, but let's have a look at the full series stats. As Fight Club 2 do have just under 60,000 more damage, but that doesn't tell the tale, as Kozaki with at least 12 more kills. And in terms of the best brawler picks, very standard.
Yeah, some great stuff from Kozaki. Impressive performance. Almost as impressive as Big's performance earlier. Arguably, Uchiha Clan should be the better team against Fight Club. So it is a bit of a difference over there. But nevertheless, Kozaki playing off strong, and they're gonna hope to keep some of that for our finals of the day. First, we will have the elimination match. That's what's up next. It's gonna be Uchiha versus Fight Club 2, and honestly a challenging match ahead of us. First, we are moving to a short break, but for you guys, that means some highlights if you want to catch up with what happened in this match.
already halfway through the groups today. It's been lightning fast from what we assumed earlier on, but we are going to be watching the elimination match coming up next between Fight Club 2 and Yuchia Clan. Now, Teddy, what are your first thoughts here? Because I can probably make the assumption of what you're going to say and how you're going to predict this, but maybe try and dig a little bit deeper to, what Fight Club 2 might have to do here to try and win this series.
They're gonna have to do a lot because earlier, I think their biggest weakness, or I guess like point of improvement for the short term is gonna be the variety of their comps. Like it was just Gene, Max, Sandy all the time, which does mean that if your opponents know about that, they can just counter it quite easily. So that is something they definitely need to work on. I don't know if it's if they're prepared enough for this next match here to have that kind of stuff available. A rich variety of comps and brawlers and such. It's a tough one. I don't really know what they can do. Like honestly, they just didn't really feel like they were good enough. They weren't good enough with the Gene, Max, Sandy, and that's what they were playing the most. So I'm curious to see if they will change things around a bit more, but I'm honestly a bit doubtful about it. I feel like with Yuchia Clan, this should be another sweep today, but I'm hoping that Fight Club 2 can prove me wrong, but we will need some more variety, some more surprises, some crazier comps, because earlier against Kozaki, it was a bit too standard, and playing like that against such teams is just not going to work out.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're playing that default or standard in terms of comps, then, we expect you to have really good fundamentals and mechanics to take on some of these well-established teams. But if you can't, then that's when you've got to, think outside the box and use comps which more helps you in your favor with counters, because you need every advantage possible against opponents who have very strong individual skill and abilities here, especially in Brawl Stars. But Yuchia Clan, they've shown a lot of promise. We were saying it earlier, but against Big Clan, they may have got 3-0'd, but it looked a little bit better from what we've seen compared to other teams playing against Big. And this is the head-to-head between Rama and Baba Pro. Rama did look quite promising in the last series and back in Stage 1. He was very strong, definitely one of the best Polish players we've actually seen in the Brawl Stars competitive scene. And the difference, as you can see, there speaks for themselves. Literally 28 more kills, a lot more damage. Again, roles are important. And we'll have to see what they can do compared to what they've done in that previous matchup, because Big Clan are, one of the top, 16 teams here in the EUN and MENAS region, and we will be looking at the bans to see which team banned what. And looks like Yuchia Clan's actually banned the Bell, and if I move over here, the Fight Club 2 has actually banned the Gene.
Yeah, I think that's a smart decision from Fight Club. I mean, Yuchia, going for Bell is pretty standard. Pretty expected. It was also their ban in the first match. So it seems like Fight Club 2 is quite ready for this one, because they probably watched their match earlier and they saw they were playing a lot of Gene. They banned Bell as well. So just taking the risk of not banning Bell themselves, going for Gene, because Fight Club, although they played it quite a bit in the previous match, they didn't play it at all in the group stage. Since Gene did not work out for them in the previous match, I don't mind them banning it, right? If they aren't comfortable with it, just play something else and try to make things a bit more even. We have our maps. It's going to be Safe Zone, Shooting Star, Triple Dribble, and Dueling Beetles, as well as Olive Branch to close things out. I'm excited about Olive Branch. I don't know if we will get to there, but I hope we do. It was one of my favorite maps back in the days. Very controversial, because most people really disliked it, but I did really enjoy it. So maybe we can get some Olive Branch action. I would absolutely love that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to say for least, but I'm gonna have to agree with you though. Going to a set 5, it's a big ask, mate. It's a big ask, but you never know. We might see Olive Branch again in the future, and we've got so many more matches. We've got 2 more groups after this group. We've got the decider matches on Friday, and we've got 5 or 6 days worth of finals going into next week as well. We've got so many games. Surely we'll see it at least once, but the only time you'll probably see it is when it's in another set 5, probably in someone else's schedule. We'll have to see later on, but you never know. We'll see. Miracles do happen, but depending on how your cheer clan play, it's all on them to decide if we get to see that set 5. But Fight Club 2, it's going to be a rough ride for them. It's going to have to try and put on a better performance. I don't think your cheer clan are going to be that mentally drained or that demoralized losing to big clan. But I feel like Fight Club 2 are going to be even more dissatisfied and, demoralized from their fight against Kazaki, because they probably thought they can do a little bit better than that. But the only thing I am glad is the fact that it signs that Fight Club 2 has reset their mentality, because I did see that first series on the day, like you rightly said, and banning that gene rather than just doing the standard banning the bell or the stew, etc.
Yeah, well, we will see how that comes down in gameplay. Honestly, let's just, get it out of the way. Uchiha Clan pretty heavy favorites coming into this one. Although they did get absolutely demolished by Big Clan earlier.
Yeah.
It was Big Clan, Kozaki, they have showed us some decent stuff, but they are not quite the Big Clan. So I don't know. Fight Club getting absolutely swept earlier by them as well just seems like there should still be quite a skill gap between Uchiha and Fight Club 2. I had never seen Fight Club 2 until the Gamestars League. Uchiha Clan I had known for the longest time, so therefore I feel obligated to go for Uchiha Clan. But yeah, I'm hoping Fight Club can prove us wrong, but they can start by doing that in this first game.
I like the comp there from the side of Fight Club 2 using that Byron, the Colette and the Crow as well to see what they can do with that. With Ollie and the Barley though, you can definitely get some range with the shots off, just trying to take out the safe if he needs to. So a lot of interesting picks. We'll see who is going to come out on top at the start of this game in set number 1. Already Rama is literally right next to Zenkai there. The trade has come in as Zenkai took out Rama, but NG managed to trade him off in the process. He's just trying to re-heal on that left side as Rama is here to join him, as they're going to soon, I'm sure, push together to push Archie back. But Archie's taking so much damage there, and NG managed to finish off Archie in the process.
Yeah, I think that the comp from Uchiha is very risky, because if there was any destruction, then suddenly those throwers would be pretty much useless. And we've seen Cold, we've seen those kind of brawlers come up on this map earlier today. So an interesting decision, but in this case, it's a bit of a perfect situation for them, because there is no destruction whatsoever, which means they are going to be quite safe behind those walls, unless you have a Crow jumping on you out of nowhere. But even then, oh, Archie still survives it. I thought he was going down for sure after that bounce. Uchiha Clan still with a 35% lead in a comfortable position, but the question is, can they keep that way?
This is the problem. It's not only the Colette on both sides, but with Ollie using that Barley as well, with the range he has in order to take out the safe and do some extra damage from mid, it's very, very tough and very difficult. You need literally full map control just to at least stop them from getting any more damage across. The Uchiha Clan do maybe have a slight advantage in terms of being able to do extra damage with extra range on the safe, but this is where, Fight Club 2 need to push on further, but they can't at this moment in time. Only 1% has been taken down. Uchiha Clan had a little bit of a slow start, but managed to be a lot more successful in their coordination towards that second half. So well play from Uchiha Clan. That's kind of what we expected from them.
Yeah, honestly, I saw a bit of a big mistake on the side of Fight Club 2, at least a funny mistake. On the side of the water near the safe, you're out of range as a Colette to hit the safe, and I saw the Colette from Fight Club 2 shooting 3 shots in a row trying to reach it, which if she knew the map well, she would know that she can't. So yeah, maybe a bit of an indication that some of those non-competitive maps aren't working out too well for Fight Club, as they do seem to not know them all that well. At least, it is one the range of one specific brawler on one specific map, but it is quite an important factor, because afterwards, she had no ammo and just had to wait until she would die, basically, as she used it all in the air. So yeah, those kind of things are going to be happening in on those maps. Safe Zone has actually become a competitive map. It became a competitive map about 4 days ago. So
wow.
Something they will need to pick up, because they're going to play that map quite a bit more.
Yeah, especially, now that you've things considered. I would have thought that if it was prepared to be in the map pool, like, with any announcements beforehand and then it's in the map pool afterwards, they've already had a lot more time. So yeah, I'm a little bit surprised about that, especially with certain maps in that compared to map pool. You'd think that if there's certain brawlers you play with quite consistently, and like especially like Colette's on that mode especially, you'd have assumed that they would know that anyway. Like, I'd understand if it's like a ladder map, which you've seen quite a few of, where there's some, a few indications which you kind of feel like they're a little bit inexperienced with certain brawlers on that map. But again, yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, a little bit surprising there. It's a shame that it just shows that if you have a huge wealth of knowledge on some of these maps, you'll be okay. But it might have just been one little mistake he made. It's too late now anyway. But we'll have to see what they can do in this next game.
Yeah, it's that kind of stuff, in the end, and it is something that is debatable, but I do think it adds something to the Gamestars League, is the fact that the teams that have more experience on those maps, that are more versatile as well, or that do their homework well, they're all gonna have an advantage, because it's not the competitive map pool. Instead of 18, you have like maybe 60 maps. So there's a lot more variety, which is gonna make things a lot harder, but it is also gonna favor some specific play styles and teams, just because they're willing to put in the effort.
Looks like we're seeing a completely different change here. We've got the Brock and the Colt and the Piper now for Fight Club 2, and still sticking with the Colette, and I think there was the Daryl as well. Let's see what they can do here to make any kind of difference. Zenkai gets the kill on NG, as now Ollie was trying to keep Rammer alive, but Archie stopped that just before he was taken down already. Fight Club 2 do have the map control, have done a little bit of damage onto the safe, enough to at least anger Yuchia Clan ever so slightly, but now Yuchia Clan have already... Oh, he's actually missed the safe there, which is very uncharacteristic of Rammer there, but still got a little bit of time to make that happen and try and make something happen from there. But he's already been taken down, and yeah, he's going to be a little bit annoyed about that.
Yeah, NG trying to play on that cover, but actually it's not even cover, is it? It's just cactus that don't really stay once you shoot at them. The lead is not that large anymore, but still, actually Uchiha take the advantage. It's gonna be a bit of a weird game. I really like to come from Fight Club because they wanted to counter those throwers, the double throwers from earlier, and they would absolutely have done that with the Colt and the Brock that can just open up the map much more, destroy the Sprout walls, all that good stuff, as well as the Piper that can do the same actually. Yeah, since Uchiha changed comps and went for something completely different as well, it's a bit of a crazy game so far. It's looking pretty good though, as NG is going to pick up a nice double kill. He gets some more damage on safe, and now we have a 52% lead, only about 40 seconds left, and Uchiha Clan looking pretty good.
I like that from Ramo. Just decides to use Colette's super, even though he's right next to the safe anyway. Obviously, he ran out of shots. He didn't want to wait around, so he just thought, oh, do you know what? I'll use it anyway and just get another super after a few more shots on his targets later on. Perfectly understandable. 10% left for the safe, 9%. It is dwindling down, and Uchiha Clan, again, quite comfortably managed to win the first set overall. But I would say with Fight Club 2, they looked a little bit better, but when I say a little bit, I'm talking like 5 or 10%. They needed some drastic changes in that game to show any kind of performance that Uchiha Clan have been showing the last couple of games.
Yeah, I think they need even more than that, honestly. Like, when you asked me earlier, what do they need to change? I thought, is it too toxic if I say their roster? And then I thought, yeah, let's not go for it. But it's kind of where it's at right now. I feel like maybe Fight Club are one of those teams that kind of sneak their way through the first group stage. I don't know. I was pretty impressed with how they played in the group stage. I remember them specifically. So I don't know. This is just very far from being enough, and they will need to show much more stuff if they want to stay in this group, if they want to stay in the Gamestars League, because it's the elimination match. If they lose this match, they're out, they're going home, and it's the end of the season for them.
I'm surprised about those stats. They probably are correct, but I'm just a little bit surprised. Obviously, with the save, perfectly understandable. But look at the damage difference and the kill difference. I'm a little bit surprised. I feel like it should be the other way round, Teddy, which is because I think if you see that much damage and that many kills, surely Fight Club 2 would actually, take that themselves. It could be wrong, could be a mistake on my part. It might be the fact that that is actually the correct stats, and your Cheer Clan did actually lose by a lot more kills and a lot more damage. But we'll have to see. That's all right. That doesn't matter though, because that is set 1 finished off, and your Cheer Clan in a convincing lead 1-0 in the series. We'll be going to Bounty and we'll be on Shooting Star. Now, thoughts about this one, Teddy? Because we've seen what happened earlier, and it's very tough to call. Your Cheer Clan do have a little bit of a slow start in their matches, but then they seem to comprehend and be able to adapt a lot faster.
Yeah, this is a bit of a tough map for comebacks or crazy stuff because you pretty much stick around the main team comp for this map, which is going to be Nani, Piper, and Tick. You have some very slight variants, but well, all right, look at that. This is pretty unheard of, to be honest. Both teams going for the same comp, which is not the standard comp. I mean, this is the kind of comps that you see once in a while, but honestly, I would say in the past like 3 months, maybe 1% of the matches had a different comp from the standard. Maybe a couple more would like replace the Piper with the Jean, but always Nani, always the Tick. So I'm really curious to see how this is gonna play out. So far, not playing out too badly for Fight Club 2, as for the first time, I'm gonna say ever today, they are in the lead.
It's all right, Teddy, don't worry. Normally you're right 99.9% of the time. You're allowed to have, one slight mistake, but it's weird though what you said. Where
I'm still right, the teams are wrong.
That's all right, and that's fine. We'll let you off. But yeah, no, it is weird though. Like seeing both teams play this exact same comp is like quite rare. Normally you expect one of them, but not both of them. As you can see, it is 5-2 now. 5-0 Fight Club 2. You Cheer Clan are just trying to push on through. Rama with that Mortis trying to do as much damage to Archie, but actually missed a couple of shots there, and then actually managed to finish him off with Bubba Pro. Cleaned him up nicely. It's 9-2 in favour of Fight Club 2, but I do feel like your Cheer Clan have plenty of opportunities now to come back in this match.
Yeah, they are quite a bit behind though, but Rama is able to pick up a nice kill. Only a 3-star difference. Zenkai to quite a bit of damage. Can this be a winnable battle for Uchiha? One good kill would be enough on Zenkai. It has to be, or both other players going in here. Rama is gonna get taken out, and Angie does manage to pick up a kill, but it's not gonna be enough, and therefore Fight Club 2, they take this game. It's their first game.
Yeah, that was quite surprising. Yeah, it was a little bit shocking. I was a little bit surprised. I think we saw a couple of missed shots from the Mortis there, from your Cheer Clan. It was a little bit of a surprise, but it might be just been good dodging from Fight Club 2, or maybe just there's a bit of luck that it could be numerous things. But yeah, good comeback from Fight Club 2. Nice to see they're alive. They're on the server. Welcome, welcome to the series as well as welcome to the good stage today. But yeah, we'll have to see if this continues on though. Like it's the level of consistency here. Will they be able to do it? That's gonna be another question. Bounty can be a little bit weird at times. I didn't really feel like your Cheer Clan. I felt like your Cheer Clan could easily come back, considering the position they was in. They were quite far behind. They still had a lot of room to make not just improvements, but in order to push them and to be able to attack them. I didn't really feel like there was never a possibility where your Cheer Clan couldn't actually come back. They were putting so much pressure on anyway. But we'll have to see if they do make a comp change, like, with the comps you were talking about before that first game even started. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what changes they make, not just in their strategies, but in terms of their comps, if they even stick or not.
Yeah, I don't want to predict any comps anymore in this match. I just, it hurts me that bad, because this is the kind of map where, honestly, it's really rare to go off the norm. And when you do, it's really to either, if somehow you have a Tick ban, you go for a Sprout instead, or a Barley, if Bell is not banned, you can play her instead of the Piper, or perhaps you can play Jean as well instead of the Piper as a strategy to counter the enemy Nani, because that's a really interesting interaction actually, because with the Jean, first of all, you can destroy the enemy Nani's return to sender super easily, because you can get a tag of 100 damage and you take 80 damage, and basically it's you're just chilling and you remove someone's gadget, which they only have 3 of, so that's a lot of good value. but extra to that, it's super OP against the return to sender going both ways, because basically if you hit someone or if you get hit, sorry, by the tick head and it goes on your teammate, the Nani, they are going to return to sender, which is going to send 80% damage back to their opponents, which the enemy Nani is going to return to sender back. But if you are playing with a Gene in your comp, you can stand near the Nani so that he starts healing up before the damage comes back, and then he's going to survive that interaction. I don't know if that made any sense, because it's a bit theoretical, a bit mathematical. I haven't seen it work a lot of times either, to be completely honest, but that's kind of one of the reasons why you can see Gene here more and more often. We will find out, though, as we hop in, and standard comp this time from Uchiha Clan, making me lose a bit less brain cells, whereas Fight Club 2, they are still going for the craziness.
Yeah, it's like you mentioned earlier, the Nani to tick in the Piper. Yeah, finally Uchiha Clan have switched to the usual standard meta picks you would on this map, and this game made perfectly understandable. So technically he was right. I think they just obviously heard you and just wanted to go for the weird picks. I just find it funny that it was so rare and both of them had the same comps. But anyways, going into game number 2 of set 2. Uchiha Clan did lose that first game, so they're going to be looking to fight back to try and stop them from winning their first set, as Zenkai's taking a lot of damage in the mid. And still Uchiha Clan are sticking together, as Fight Club 2 do have a 1-0 lead from that blue star, but Zenkai is pushed in very far, and maybe if they extend ever so slightly, but it's okay because Archie with the poker managed to give him a re-heal. Baba Pro's just trying to keep the rest of Uchiha Clan at bay just ever so slightly, and Ollie's still trying to do a little bit more damage with that tick, but Rama with the first kill on Archie is going to give him a little bit of leadway and now can restructure their setup on how they want to go. But Zenkai, as you can see, NG managed to clean him up there, so just to increase their lead slightly.
Yeah, so far so good for Uchiha Clan, 3-star lead, and so far this is making me wonder, why did they go for Poco, Max, whatever? Oh, actually, never mind, they actually pick up the kill onto NG. Interesting stuff. We'll see. I do still feel like the comp is stronger from Uchiha Clan, and it's a standard comp, so I'm a bit confused why we are seeing this come from FK2 again, and why we saw it from Uchiha in the previous game as well. Zenkai able to get out of that sticky situation. They need a kill here, Uchiha, and they need it in the next 8 seconds. Otherwise, it's going to be Fight Club 2 tying things up. But look, HP-wise, it is a close affair. They do pick up a kill. Yeah, it is Uchiha Clan to pick up this game and tie things up in Bounty.
I like what Uchiha Clan were doing, like pushing him to that top right corner, just trying to target the Poco first, so if he does have that super in his backpack, he can re-heal the rest of his teammates afterwards. And he was actually on the front line at one stage, and I don't think they expected one of the players on Uchiha Clan to go straight up to the top and flank that Poco, and he managed to stay alive a little bit more, but it just wasn't enough, and obviously managed to win that 7-6. Sadly for the side of Fight Club 2, they won't be winning their first set. They will be having things tied 1-1 in the second set, and Uchiha Clan looking to try and make this a 2-0 series scoreline. Will they be able to? That's going to be another question. And if anyone who's actually just joined us, welcome. We have already had 2 matches today, the opening match and the second match. This is going to be the first round of the elimination match, and this is to play for a spot in the decider match on Friday. And whoever loses this, that's it. They're out. They're going home. That's it. They're pretty much stuffed from the get-go and won't be able to qualify for the international finals. But in a winners match, it will be Big Clan versus the side of I think it was Kozaki at the time. So Kozaki, apologies. And then obviously those two will be banded out for the international finals qualification. I will get these names right at some point, and it's just me and my awful English. You wouldn't think I'm from the UK, would you? But yeah, it's finally Big Clan versus Kozaki. They'll be playing later on straight after this series. But still, we're waiting for this series to progress and continue on, as it is 1-0 in favour of the side of Uchiha Clan. But Uchiha Clan looking good. Fight Club 2, they've shown, some kind of respect. They've actually been able to at least take a game up to show some kind of resilience here, Teddy. But, the inconsistencies are kind of slightly shown again with some of the cracks in the armor.
Yeah, I'm still kind of debating about those comps, man. I feel like Uchiha Clan just won with the comp they were trying to counter earlier. I don't know. I feel like, why did they drift off the standard comp if they won with it against the comp they just brought in? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. It honestly doesn't. Like, you could play something different if you're trying to counter what is meta on this map, right? But here they just win against like that counter by playing what is meta. So why would you play that in the first place and risk losing that first game? I don't know. Maybe they were just having some fun. That could be very much possible. But it still feels like a bit of an odd decision. And I'm not even talking about Fight Club 2 going for it twice in a row. Sure, they did win the first time, but the second time, it makes me question even more why they decided to bring it on the table, because it just didn't really work against the standard comp for this map. So I don't know. It just feels very odd to me. It makes me very uncomfortable.
You don't really feel like you're in your comfort zone at the moment watching this, don't you, mate?
No.
We saw it in the first game. I think you was well out of your comfort zone watching that, and just even before the game started, Teddy was already getting tilted Teddy. There we go. That's a new phrase.
Man, I was getting crisp and just very tense, and it just feels wrong. Those are I like having the rich variety of brawlers you can play in the game right now, but I also do like having a couple of staple maps where it's always the same brawlers that you are going to be seeing, and it's going to be always mirror matchups, and it's a huge thing when you have some slight variation of that. And here it just completely throws me off my game, and I don't like it. It's very frustrating. I've never really had it before, for this game, but this is really the map where you always play the same kind of stuff. And if you experiment, it's usually some slight stuff, or it's on one side, not on both. So I'm salty about it, and therefore I hope Uchiha pick up this set because they are playing the better comp.
Fantastic stuff. See, we need a new segment. If you guys want a segmented show, in between games called Tilted Teddy, just let me know, and then we'll try and get it done for you if we maybe even have the time, we'll have to see, because we don't want to get too salty, mate, with the comps and everything like that. But speaking of comps, there we go. Both sides are using the exact same comps, mirror matchup, and we'll see if Fight Club 2 can do a better job compared to that last game, because they really need to show, not that they've shown a huge amount of promise and effort, but again, they keep falling back on the back foot. This can be a little bit of a pain in the backside, and that's probably why it angers Teddy, but it's fine, as NG has taken down Archie as the first kill, and actually, you saw it, it's actually the second kill, and then we've got a third one. NG again taking down Zenkai, already up 8-4.
Yeah, so far, a nice Uchiha clan show. It does explain maybe a little bit why Fight Club 2 decided to bring something different earlier, because they knew they kind of had to, because in the mirror matchup, it would be a bit of a nightmare scenario. I think the big difference here is that Rama just shooting off at NG. Not entirely sure the reason for that, but yeah, the big difference here I think is the nannies. I feel like NG is just able to capitalize much more on his matchup against the Piper than Baba Pro is. And NG did go down earlier, but he had 2 or 3 kills before that already. So it just, as a Nani, you have an advantage playing against a Piper because it's easier to hit your shots. Your gadget is a hard counter as well. So it's just a really, really solid choice. And you have to capitalize off that. And NG has been getting so many kills off that Piper already, whereas Baba Pro hasn't had a single kill yet, I believe. And that just makes that big of a difference. 12 seconds left here, and things are looking good for Uchiha.
Zenkai had to find a way back for that Piper because he took so much damage, but there's only very little they can do here as Rama's taken down Baba Pro in the process and has taken down Zenkai. So those 2 kills, in all fairness, wasn't really necessary, but it doesn't matter anyway. It's just basically going from confirming that victory from 90% to 100, just playing it very safe, and great shots from him, great aiming. I think his positioning was the most important. With the Pipe and the Bell, your positioning is so important, not just to inflict countless amount of damage, but making sure you can support your teammates in the process. And it was much better. That was probably the best game they had during this set.
Yeah, I agree. This was pretty convincing from Uchiha, though, as they are able to take that set. It's 2-0 now, and they only need 1 more to proceed to the decider match of this group. Yeah, so far, honestly, Fight Club 2, they've shown us some stuff here and there, but it's still pretty far from being enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of consistent inconsistencies, and I don't think it's given us enough to say, yeah, they could come back. Or if every game was tight knit, or they took it to a game three every set, it would be completely different. But analytically, from our point of view, from our perspective, it's hard to say that they can come back and do any kind of reverse sweep in this series. But looking at stats, only 14 to 12 kills, you wouldn't think of it compared to what we saw before. But then again, Fight Club 2 did have a very good game number 2 in that set. But damage wise, 101,000. This is the kind of map presence I expected from your Cheer clan, and it's great to see they're playing a lot more on form in comparison to that first set. But we can see if the trend continues going into set number 3, which will be on triple dribble. Could be very fast, could be very slow, could see a few ties. It would be interesting to say the least, but I can't really imagine the side of your Cheer clan even time this. I wouldn't be surprised even further if we saw your Cheer clan actually dominate this map quite hard.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised either. Comps wise, I do feel like Gene, Max, Sandy are a good opportunity here. Gene is banned, which I just remembered now. So
Same,
just
actually.
even Max Sandy in general, Max Sandy combined with a Barley, for example, could work really well. Stu is an option if I remember correctly, so that could also very much be played here. Let me think. I think Sprout can also work, but it's a bit more slower pace, and you overall just want the Barley rather. Yeah, you could go for some tanks, some Poco double tanks. That's also a possibility. I think that's about it. Maybe stuff like Jesse and Nita can also work out to a certain extent. BB is also a brawler that I think can do pretty well and have some very nice angles for bubbles. Yeah, that would be my main guesses, but I feel like somehow I'm gonna get surprised again.
I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if you did get surprised. I think the only way Fight Club 2 can do now is just going to have to make assumptions on the picks they're going to make, as though it's going to be like default or standard, and then just try and counter it from the first game and then go from there. If they don't, I don't really feel like they could do any more. I feel like the fundamentals and mechanics of the side of your Cheer clan is just way too high, way too much. And the only way they can maybe even come back from this is just use the wealth of knowledge they have in their arsenal. But I can't really see it happening now. It's when you're playing on a game mode where you're very limited to what you can select in terms of brawlers, in terms of the meta, it's very difficult to try and counteract that and then go from there. It's very tough. But we'll see though. We've had a few surprises, a few weird comps here and there. Definitely weirded you out. I can tell from your face that you're a little bit surprised here and there, not in a good way either. So going into this next set, at least if this ends in a 3-0, at least you've got a few minutes to kind of recuperate from what you've seen over the past few games.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, I'm still at a point where like I forgive, but I don't forget what we had in Bounty here. We will see later on if I can make some place in my hearts for one of those teams again. Uchiha clan so far is a bit closer there because they did switch off the insanity a bit faster, so I appreciate them for that. But Fight Club 2, I don't know. I liked them until then. Now it's a bit of a mixed feelings. No, serious talk. I feel like Uchiha clan should be able to close it out here in Brawl Ball. Brawl Ball is a game mode where sometimes you see some underdogs come back just because it is the game mode they like play the most or something, because it's where you will tend to be playing and pushing most brawlers because it's the best for pushing ladder. It's also one of the most fun game modes, so it's what is going to be played the most, or even like casually. So that could be enough for them to close that skill ceiling a bit more, that skill gap, sorry, a bit more. Look at that, the push coming forward. Rama is gonna go for it, and look at that, easy first goal. 15 seconds is all it takes, and Uchiha clan kick things off with the lead.
I didn't even get the chance to even put my glasses on then, Teddy. And do you know what? I'm just going to leave them off because I wouldn't be surprised if the second goal came into play very shortly. Seeing that Poco Mortis Frank comp, again, another default comp we've seen previously in the past many a times. Fight Club 2 do have the ball going onto that right lane, but you can see their Ramo just taking the mickey a little bit. It's going to try and push him through towards the middle. And still, though, we managed to pulling through a little bit here, but NG's just trying to, get away from Zenkai, isn't able to. And Ollie now is there just next to Archie as well as Zenkai, just trying to do as much damage as he can. We'll be taken down shortly. One more shot will do it from the Poco. And now Archie will be pushing down towards the south side as NG now is looking to see if he can do any more damage to Baba Pros. Baba Pros still got a lot of health between him. Ollie's just playing it quite safe, just holding back to see where Baba Pro is going to go next. Done a fair amount of damage so far. Hasn't really taken much damage himself. Uses that super, but again, it's not going to be enough for him to, change the fact in this game or make any more impact. He's on 44 HP. Surely that battle's not going to last too much longer. And now Zenkai's going to try and push on through. Very risky play here, as already a couple of players are already on that goal line waiting for the side of Fight Club to push on through. So we're not going to see a very fast second goal here, Teddy, but still plenty of room and plenty of time for that second goal to occur.
Yeah, and this push could be what they need here. Fight Club 2, the trick shot. Oh my god. Oh, well, he actually got it. The trick shot pass. That was a beautiful play there from Fight Club 2.
Yeah, a little bit of a surprise there. I don't think it's that what we expected. And now Zenkai's going to try and push him with the ball and try and get any further if he can. Ollie will stop him in the process. Ollie's now going to push it up north, and NG and Rama are just waiting for each other to go on through. So taking a little bit of damage on the mid side. Baba Pro trying to be healed. He's still got a fair amount to take down, but now he's going to come from behind. I feel like Ollie now is going to be looking to push through as fast as possible. The ball's still there. He should be okay. I don't think there's enough DPS for him to even be able to solidify that yet. That should be fine. And Ollie's able to score for Uchiha Clan and win that first game.
Yeah, match point for Uchiha, 1 game away from staying in this group and going to a deciding match for Friday. Fight Club 2, a bit of a grimmer story for them. 1 loss away from going home and ending their journey in this first season of the Gamestars League. They've shown us some good stuff in the past, but today it hasn't really been their day thus far. They did almost pick up a set against Uchiha, or almost. That's maybe a bit of a stretch, but they did show some promise over there in Bounty earlier. I think they can do that again in Brawl Ball, but we will need something pretty quickly because comp-wise, it's going to be a mess here. I can already tell you we might see some big changes on the side of Uchiha. Fight Club 2 might be matching that Poco double tank. They might be going for some counters against that. I have no clue what to expect at this point. I do want to point out that Uchiha Clan's Poco was playing the Capo, so the heal star power, so his regular attacks heal his teammates. Whereas Fight Club 2, he was playing Screeching Solo, so a lot less healing, but his super deals 800 damage to opponents. So a bit of a different strategy there, I guess. I mean, we've seen Screeching Solo come back to the game slowly. I would say that when you're playing it with a Mortis and a Frank, you want to have the heals because you're supposed to be a healer. But yeah, I don't know. I think that was a bit of an odd decision from Fight Club 2, especially since against those massive units, like Frank, like Mortis and such, your 800 damage, they're pretty ridiculous, to be completely honest.
It is really, yeah, no surprises there at all. Are we going to see a clone of that first game? Yeah, we probably will. We'll have to see, depending on the comps. Like I said, the comps have been, a bit bizarre, shall we say? We'll just put it right there anyway. But then again, we are playing non-competitive maps as well, so I'm sure it's not the shiniest thing we've seen in the slightest. But yeah, looking forward to this next game. Uchiha Clan, we said are favourites from the get-go, from the beginning of the series. It looks like it's going to continue on. It's going to be tradition for them pretty much. They're looking to secure that decider match spot, and if they do, I think they'll be looking pretty good going into the Friday. But it depends if they play against Big or Kazaki at the time, and I don't think they want to play Big again. I'm pretty sure they're hoping that Kazaki does.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I'm pretty sure they will. I'm pretty sure they'll get what they're asking for, what they're wishing for. But yeah, that's looking a little bit into the future. We start looking to this third set. Sorry for the delays, guys. We're just waiting for all the players to a little bit of a hitch up. We're just waiting for them to get ready and to prepare for this next game. If you're just joining us, this is the elimination match. We've already had the first 2 series of the day. The elimination match between Fight Club 2 and the team of your Cheer Clan, and at the moment your Cheer Clan are up 2-0 and currently at 1-0 in set number 3, and it's just basically the decider. It's actually match point to find out if they are going to solidify a spot in the decider match, and we'll be finding out right this second, as Baba Pro's already gone straight onto the goal and always taken out 1. Will he be able to take down 2? No, he will not. But still, though, they've all been completely team wiped here, and Zenkai would be the one to score the first goal for Fight Club 2. Interesting.
Yeah, good stuff from Fight Club. It seems like they decided to go for the Poco tank Shelly. Shelly is definitely an interesting decision. Not a brawler you see a lot, even less when you are down match point. I feel like Angie could have escaped there with the goal, but he is gonna get pinched by Baba Pro. This should be the follow-up goal coming in as well. Nice attempt from Rama, but just not in time. And Fight Club 2, they're able to tie things up. I actually kind of like the decision from Fight Club. It's the first time that I'm gonna say good job on your comp, because sure, Shelly, memes aside, it is pretty decent against tanks. So at least they have something in case there's a Poco double tank. They played it off really well, and Shelly also does have some sort of utility with like a nice slow, the ability to open the map up, all that kind of stuff. I like it, honestly. Bring something fresh, but bring something that works, and that's what they did right here. Despite Shelly being a part of it, I think they could have probably gone better off with an EMS, but Shelly still worked out, and if they had some tanks, it would have worked even better, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the first time we've seen a Shelly just in general in the Gamestars League. We haven't seen her, much at all. Like you said, which is completely understandable. Yeah. But it's nice to see a little bit of change, a little bit of difference, a little bit of off meta, a little bit of changes from the borders from what we've seen previously. We do see the same default comps we always do, but it makes perfect sense as to why they're used. They're perfect for that particular map or game mode, etc. The only question is, though, that was very quick. It's even for Fight Club 2 to win that. It's even more bizarre compared to what we saw earlier. But we have to just hope they continue on and be able to actually take this first set. If we do, then we'll be happy for them, but at the same time puzzled as to like the start which Cheer Clan had in this set going forward. But anything can happen here, Teddy, and I'll be curious to see how Cheer Clan respond in this next game.
Yeah, they will need some sort of an answer. I think that the Colette was a decent idea, but I do feel like Colette is still kind of, how can I say that? Colette is strong against tanks, but I don't think it's the best against Poco double tank, because you can, because they get healed, it's gonna make it very complicated, because they will stay on the lower HP side of things longer, which is when you deal less damage as well. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that makes a little bit of sense. I can understand that.
So I don't love the Colette. So basically, Colette deals more damage the more HP her opponents have. But because of a Poco double tank situation, she's going to get some good tags early on. But then they're constantly going to get healed while they're like mid or low HP, which means that they never really, take a lot of damage anymore, and then you kind of lose the purpose of a Colette. With that being said, we have a strong push early on from Fight Club 2. Look at that, it's going to be a quick goal.
Yeah, I'm gobsmacked. What is going on here? Your Cheer Clan, it seems to be a lot more one-sided from what we've seen before. We've seen, like you said, we've seen some weird things, and going back to the Colette thing as well, it's also the fact that she might want to wait until the Poco uses her heal as well, in order to then obviously used the super with Colette. And Archie now takes down NG, and Rama's the only one on the goal line. He's still looking to try and back away, just waiting for the rest of his team to respawn. Ollie's still on that left lane, just trying to pick him apart a little bit here, and Rama does take down Zenkai. I don't know what they've said, or whoever the RGL is for Fight Club 2, but it's obviously given him a really good motivational talk or speech before this last game. And Rama now is passing to NG. NG just waiting for an opportunity now to push on forward. Just leaving the ball on their side just to try and figure out exactly how we're going to break this setup. As Ollie now is looking to try and inflict a bit more damage here if he can, but has now been pushed back a little bit by that Barney on the right side. I think that was Archie, I believe. And Zenkai's with him. Baba Pro's also just waiting behind some structure just to see if he can make another push. And still Ollie doing a little bit of damage to Baba Pro here and does take him down.
Yeah, Uchiha with the opportunity to push up a bit more, and look at that. It's a nice team wipe. Unfortunately for them, they can't really capitalize off that all that much. Oliver is gonna fall, and this is gonna end the push for Uchiha. They have to fall back. Actually, they have to defend, because Fight Club 2, if they play this well, they can close it out. The pass to Baba. Nice dash from Oliver is gonna save the day. He's able to pick up another kill, but I don't think he has time to find the goal just yet. 15 seconds left. Uchiha clan need to activate really soon. Can they make something happen? The ball is cornered. They want to get it out of position, but Archie is going to be blocking that off. He picks up the kill, and that's going to end any chances for Uchiha clan. This set is going to Fight Club 2, and honestly, I mean, it was one of the best played games from Fight Club, but I think the comp from Uchiha was kind of ridiculous. Like, I know that B and Colt can be really strong because you open up the map, but I don't really understand why, to be honest. Why not play like a Troy yourself? Like, it just, like, I just don't see any advantage of playing that comp over just playing what's meta once again. So I don't know. I think it was a very weird comp. We've seen some weird comps on both sides. I just hope for Chia that it's not going to backfire later on. Look at that magnificent pass, though, with the trick shot. That was something else.
Yeah, I still find it very, very strange how that started off and then just how it ended. I think this is one of the most bizarre Brawl Ball games we've witnessed so far in this league. It's not something we expected. It's just very strange. I've never seen the tides turn so much, and it's like I said halfway through that third game, either Fight Club 2 just got given the most motivational speech and inspirational motive to win that series, or God knows what, I don't know. But weird enough, they're back in this now, Teddy. So they did have 4 more kills, a couple more goals, a little bit more damage, not a huge amount to, turn the tide, but yeah, what a massive difference. Maybe it was just comps overall. And we said it even before that set. We were like, they need to play to their strengths, as in don't play the standard default picks you normally see. Try and counter it before they can, even act on the first set. Like in the first set, for example, they had that Poco double tank. That's something you do see sometimes. And even though they weren't ready for it as much, they did manage to counter some of the comps anyway. But I think it's more Uchiha clan and their selection. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of sets. I'm still weirded out, I'd say. I still find it very strange, but Fight Club 2, dare we say it, they have actually made the start of their process making this series return, and maybe able to return the favor to Uchiha clan and try and win a couple more sets of their own. But it will be on Dueling Beetles and Hot Zone, and funny enough now, Ted, we may even get to Olive Branch.
That is true. Hot Zone, though, I mean, this is on Dueling Beetles, a map where you do kind of like that Colt and B, so it seemed like Uchiha were excited about playing that one and confident about it. Maybe they will be this time around as well, and now it is on a map where it works well, so maybe it can pay off a bit more. I don't know. I still feel like Uchiha should be able to get a 3-1 victory overall and just pick this set up. I'm hoping to see some I don't remember which map it is, Olive Branch, but yeah, I'm not like hoping too much to see it, because I don't really expect it to happen.
Yeah, I'm not being optimistic either here, mate. I'm just going to be honest with you. If they don't end this now, then it could be one of the biggest upsets, even if they still lose this series. Taking it to Olive Branch, considering the circumstances in that third set, it shouldn't have happened, really. Let's be real. They should have thought about it a little bit more. The changes they made was just a bit weird in many circumstances. But yeah, I don't know. Well, Fight Club 2, I still think you're right though in terms of your cheer clan. They're way too consistent in terms of like how skilled they are with their mechanics as individual players. It's still way too strong. But Fight Club 2 have fought back technically. But will it continue? We're not really too sure, as NG's already taken 2. He actually got an entire team up there thanks to the support of his teammates. And that is not the start you want.
Yeah, so far good control for Uchiha. Nice beam from Rama as well. Just maximizing the value by taking out some walls and getting a full-on kill out of that. It's gonna be a tough journey for Uchiha. For Fight Club 2, to retrieve control. Slow from NG doesn't quite connect. And Fight Club 2, out of nowhere, they do manage to take back center control. Oliver gonna place a damage booster that will be helping out so much to deal that extra damage to pick up a kill. Especially with those long-range brawlers. Every single bit of damage just makes a big difference. However, it's still pretty good from Fight Club. They're just staying alive. They're holding on to control, and the aim from Uchiha clan is failing on them. They're not able to hit as many shots as they would like, and they are getting punished for it. Because if you want to bring those highly mechanical brawlers to the table, you need to hit your shots. Otherwise, it's just not gonna work out. NG with some great taps. Oh my god, NG is insane, but only 4% left with a poker on the team and a Sandy that pretty much seems lost already. Fight Club 2, they pick up yet another game. That's 3 games in a row. They are rolling off that momentum, aren't they?
Yeah, they certainly are. NG had, you know, an entire team wipe at the end with the support of his teammates right at the very beginning of that game. And we were just like, okay, here we go. Like, you know, this is what we expected. It's going to continue on, and then the hot zone scoreline is going to be huge in comparison. But Fight Club 2 looking a lot better. It's just, again, I still find it weird. I just find it weird how, like I said, whoever their motivational speaker is or whoever the IGO is, good job. Because whatever you said to the rest of the team, it's definitely looking very good. The fact that they were 2 sets down, they lost the first game in set 3, and just turning it around on its head like this is just absolute madness. So, you know, let's continue on. Let's see if they can now win this set entirely. And it's not only the momentum shift you're talking about for Fight Club 2. I think your Cheer Clan are feeling the pressure now. I think they may have, you know, not just overestimated their opponents. It's more the fact that they've got a little bit too comfortable, and now they're thinking, oh, Christ, actually, you know, we may... Like, they could take us to set 5, and you know we could be all but done for. And here's the commentators here talking about who they're worried about playing in the decider match. We're assuming they're already in the decider match on Friday. And yeah, Fight Club 2, like, yeah, if they win this game as well, then your Cheer Clan are going to be sweating at the moment. It's going to be a very, very squeaky time here, Teddy, if they lose this next one as well.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, I don't really know what they should change, because their comp is the best comp in the game for this map. The problem is you need to hit your shots. If you don't, well, it's not really going to work out. And we had a couple of moments where they played off well, but quickly enough, it kind of fell apart. So maybe they want to go for like a mirror matchup. Maybe they want to go for something completely different, bring in like a Poco double tank, something along those lines, or double or triple healer. Who knows what they decide to go for. I think that Mortis could work out pretty well here with a healer. But yeah, they're just gonna go for the mirror matchup actually. And instead we have the Mortis on FK2. They're playing mind games with the comms, although they are gonna get melted down early on.
Yeah, the Mortis got taken down straight away by that Sandy, and you saw Archie was taken down straight afterwards. Already an early lead on that hot zone for you Cheer Clan. This is basically what happened before, but you know, is it going to be a repeat win for, on the side of Fight Club 2? That's going to be a question which is going to be answered very shortly. NG with a kill on Archie. Zenkai just trying to stay alive on that left side, but you know, even with that Mortis, he's just trying to use all the attacks he can now, because he knew that he's going to get traded off eventually. Very good start from your Cheer Clan, as already Baba Pro and Archie are trying to go from that right lane. Seems like Archie's I'm not sure what's happened to him at the moment. He's been taken down here. Zenkai now just going to do what he can with the Mortis. Baba Pro now was trying to clean up on the players on your Cheer Clan, and Ollie finishes it off Zenkai. That was actually Rama in the north.
Yeah, Uchiha Clan 5% away from victory, and with 3 players in the zone, there's just nothing that Fight Club 2 can do about it. And this is going to be match point coming up for Uchiha Clan. A bit of an unfortunate turn of events here for Fight Club, since they had the Mortis that got absolutely just melted down constantly. It was very unimpactful, which is just really tough as a Mortis. You need to be very impactful as a Mortis. It is one of those brawlers that is not going to be the best at holding control, at holding lanes. It's gonna, but therefore it needs to compensate for this lack of control by getting some very clutch plays, and by getting like some nice double kills or some nice picks here and there. And I think you got like 1 kill or 2 kills of that entire game. That is way below the performance you expect from a Mortis. also Archie having some perhaps connectivity issues, or not entirely sure what happened there. That's
Yeah.
also the kind of stuff you need to make sure is not going to be happening at this level of play.
Yeah, that was really strange. I do feel like either it was pinging to the moon, or he had some kind of connectivity issues, because
Mhm.
obviously you're not going to stand in the right lane in the open with poker. It's common sense. You're not going to stand still full stop. But
Yeah.
yeah, that did seem really weird, and you could tell from the emotions of the players on Fight Club 2, something was clearly not right. So I feel like, yeah, of course, this is not the time to have any kind of connectivity issues or have a ping beyond God knows what it could have been. I'm assuming that we're just going to wait a few more minutes. This is just an assumption I'm going to make, but I assume that we're going to wait for a few more minutes, just maybe see if Rama's connection does stabilize again. If it was me or see Teddy, personally, I think that if we did have any connectivity issues, we want to give it at least 5 minutes plus, just to make sure that it is stable again, which makes perfect sense. Of course, especially as a poker, and you want to try and re-heal your teammates, anything like that, and you're just standing there like a Wally, just like standing at AFK, it's obviously not going to help. It doesn't matter, well, obviously which brawler you are. But yeah, don't be surprised, guys, if we just have to hold things off for a little bit. You have to understand from the player's perspective that, the team of Fight Club 2 were down 2-0. They were losing as well in set 3, managed to come all the way back 3 games in a row. We're looking very, very strong, very good. And now the fact that some connectivity issues could actually refrain them from even potentially taking it to a final set and maybe even a decider match. So thank you for your patience, and we understand that for your cheer clan it's going to be a bit of a rough ride, but it's a shame for Fight Club 2 as well. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens in this next game. So don't be surprised we do have to wait just a few more minutes to wait for Rama's connection to restabilize.
Yeah, we will find out soon enough, as it is going to be match point for Chia. Fight Club 2, they're only 1 game behind from tying things up and pushing things to set 5. So indeed, they got they're starting to have something to lose, right? Earlier, it was kind of like, yeah, they have nothing to lose. But now, this time around, they actually can start to taste the smell of victory, of staying in this group until Friday at least, and they're going to be fighting for that. I can tell you that much. I do still think that Uchiha Clan is the better team. I think that if it doesn't come down to some shenanigans, they should be able to pick that one up.
Yeah, so don't be surprised if we wait a few more minutes for the connectivity issues to arise. Shouldn't be too bad. Obviously, we will get a message from the admin shortly to say if they can even continue, which we've got to take into account as well, because if he can't play or something happens, then they may have to forfeit, or the set will continue on. It's just the fact that in terms of his ISP speeds and internet speeds, maybe he may have to struggle a little bit in game. But from what we've seen so far, it's definitely, they were looking so good. Fight Club 2 would just seem like a completely different team. They were definitely a lot more coordinated. I feel like, all the stars were aligned again for this team, and they seem to be playing so much better. It was like someone else just took their devices and started playing. It was that much difference in terms of night and day action, and it's just great stuff to see. It's just going to be sad for them if they lose out on this just due to these issues. I will, feel really sorry for them, because we know how well they've been doing the last couple of sets. But we'll have to see, though, because your cheer clan isn't someone to mess around with. You need to have you can't have anything holding you back here. And if something small like this can happen, then, I'll feel sorry for the side of Fight Club 2 to get knocked out on, in this kind of fashion.
Yeah, I agree. Especially for Brawl Stars, compared to like PC games, we do have the chance that for most of us, we have like decent like mobile data. So you can just switch off the Wi-Fi and go to the mobile data and play your game if you are having an issue, which on PC is a bit of a more tedious task, to be completely honest. So I guess that's nice about mobile esports. But still, sometimes, especially some of those guys, I personally don't know how good the mobile bandwidth is in Turkey, or the Wi-Fi, or what the conditions are for playing. So those are all things to take into account as well. And yeah, we'll wait for them to fix that out and get started with our next match point game.
Yeah, still got plenty of time, guys. I think we will be looking to go back into this set. It is game number 3. If the side of Fight Club 2 do win this, they will take it to a set number 5. And if Uchiha Clan win this, they'll be going into the decider match, which is being played on the Friday. So here we go. We're going to start things off with Rama taking down Baba Pro. Oli already taking down Zenkai. Only one player left standing for Fight Club 2. And already Uchiha Clan got a big advantage here going into this. Haven't got a small percentage, but do have the map control as Baba Pro's playing this very fast here, just trying to push back as much as possible. This is a very, very fast coordinated push here from Fight Club 2. I was already just trying to stay alive as much as they can. They're taking so much damage here. It was a nice push by Fight Club 2, but you saw there all the players on Uchiha Clan did a great job just solidifying, playing very patient in terms of what they wanted to do and counteracted that push from Fight Club 2.
Good stuff from Uchiha. 3 versus 1, and they're the ones in the zone. So Uchiha looking to double up on that lead. It's looking very solid, although Fight Club 2 are able to retrieve some control. The Sandstorm is gonna be an annoyance, especially with the extra healing it provides to Uchiha with the star power. Only Baba Pro left alive. I think this is the player that changes the game, as Uchiha is able to get the successful retake, take control and push things to a 90% captured, maybe even further. They get a nice kill. They're all low HP for FK2, only one left alive. He gets taken out as well, and that means that eventually Uchiha Clan do take out Fight Club 2 after a bit of a more complicated match than it had to be completely honest with you. But a win is a win. They stay in the competition. Fight Club 2, unfortunately, are going home empty-handed at the end of this first season, whereas Uchiha Clan, they still got a decider match to play. That's going to be on Friday, where we will have all our decider matches here for the second group stage.
Yeah, commiserations to Fight Club 2. I do feel sorry for them still, because not only when someone has connectivity issues, you know, it doesn't only affect you, the player with those problems, it affects your teammates as well, because that's kind of like that's like pretty much a morale killer in the slightest. It's the fact that you know that in the back of your mind, one of your teammates won't be able to play the best of his ability. It's going to affect you as well. And you can see they're trying to do some very quick, hard pushes in order to try to fight back against Uchiha Clan. And you can see Uchiha Clan, they did feel for them as well. It was a little bit of a shame, a bit short-lived. We were going to expect a lot more considering how well they were playing. Kills speak for themselves, damage speaks for itself as well. Pretty much double in terms of the damage, quadruple in terms of the kills. And yeah, you're right though. Uchiha Clan, that's them finished for the group almost. They will be going into the decider match against the loser of Big Clan and the side of Kozaki. So that's going to be an exciting match. That's going to be the next match which we'll be witnessing in the next 5-10 minutes. So another great match to witness, and Uchiha Clan will definitely be all eyes on this to see exactly who will be losing and, you know, what research they can take away from this, and just going into the full match stats. A few more kills, 14 more kills in favor of Uchiha Clan, 160,000 more damage, and you can see the brawlers most used there. There's pretty much the standard stuff to Sandy, Max, Poco, Mortis, etc. So yeah, pretty good match. It was it's a shame. I feel like it was anticlimactic compared to what we saw halfway through, but it doesn't matter. It is just one of those things, sadly, Teddy.
Yeah, you know, you can't win them all. I feel like we had a bit of a chance to come back here, but it just wasn't quite enough, was it? So good stuff from Uchiha Clan. They make it work no matter what, even though the way there was, yeah, once again, maybe a bit more complicated than it really had to be. I think they kind of made things a bit complicated themselves with some of those comp choices. But yeah, they will proceed to the to the decider match on Friday.
It will do indeed, but we have only got one match left today. It is the winners match between Big Clan and the side of Kozaki. The winner will be going straight to the international finals. The loser will sadly have to play a little bit more in the decider match on Friday, and you'll witness that very soon. So come back after these highlights. And we're back with more Brawl Stars action with my main man duo, Teddy. And we've only got one match left to go for this group, and it is going to be Big Clan versus the side of Kozaki. Now, Teddy, this we've got to be a little bit real here, a little bit realistic in terms of what we've seen so far from Big. Looking very good, very strong, very dominant. We've seen it every single time. The only time we struggled is a little bit in that group of death in stage 1. But Kozaki have now got a massive tall order. And if you guys have just joined us, we've witnessed some great games. Sadly, in that last series, in the elimination match, it was quite anticlimactic. Fight Club 2 were fighting back very strong, completely out of the blue, and sadly did get taken down by Uchiha Clan 3-1. So Uchiha Clan standing strong still, will be playing an at-the-side match on Friday. Fight Club 2 have been eliminated completely from the tournament, but Big Clan versus Kozaki, this is a fight for a place straight into the international finals, and the loser will be playing in an at-the-side match against the Uchiha Clan. But looking at the popular brawlers, you can see a couple of players a little bit more spread out, but my goodness here, Teddy. 10 Max, 10 Gene, 10, 11 Sandy, 8 Max as well. It's a fair bit here.
Yeah, I completely agree. We have some pretty popular brawlers around here. Nadine and Sam probably gonna be dueling it out on Max quite a bit. Sugar and U4O on the Gene. And then Lars and X, a bit different. Lars preferring the Barley, but I do think he plays the Sandy as well for Big if they want to go, Sandy, Gene, Max. Whereas X, for Kozaki, it is X to rock that Sandy 11 times picked. I don't want to call him a Sandy one trick just yet, but it's getting quite close to it.
Certainly has done indeed, yeah. It's with a lot of these teams, it's been a lot more evenly paced, or not evenly paced, but evenly shared out between the teams. Quite a lot of one-sided brawlers there. We'll have to see what happens when the bans come out and if they even get the opportunity, as we're going to see the head-to-head between Sugar, Snort, and X, and you can see from there, stats don't lie. A huge amount of damage, huge amount of kills, but again, like we always say, it's always about the roles and a few star players as well. I'll be interested to see how Sugar Snort actually does. He's had quite a good day so far. He made a lot of game-changing plays earlier on in the set against, I think it was Uchiha Clan. I'm also excited to see the slaying ability from X, because with that KD, having an extra 21 kills to his name, it's obviously makes a lot of important plays in each of the process of each set. And it was obviously one of the game changers who wants to try and make an impact against the side of Big. But again, it's very, very difficult. But, that last set, it was nice to see having, such a strong showing. But it's going to be unlikely they'll have a strong showing like that against Big. Could be wrong. Be nice to be proved wrong as well as we go into the first set of game number 1 here, Teddy.
Yeah, this is gonna be our winner match of the day. And the winning team is going straight to the international playoffs. The losing team will be playing a decider match on Friday versus Uchiha Clan. So potential rematch if it's big, because I could be facing them for the first time. We have a bit of a different strategy here towards the middle. The Colette is also going to be my favorite pick. Most pros agree that Colette is the better mid compared to a Jessie, but Jessie is still pretty decent as well. Rico, a very strong brawler on this map, but so is Ruffs, and where Ruffs is maybe a bit less strong in 1v1s, he's going to compensate for in utility, providing those boosts and buffs to his teammates. Getting the map opened up, which, does counter Rico, I guess. So we'll see in the long run how that works out. So far, a pretty good situation going for Big.
Certainly has done indeed, getting heavily outslayed. U4O isn't looking as jolly as he did earlier on. He knows, you can see from him, that's his serious face now. Really wants to try and do the damage on the side of Big, but Big are just out damaging, outslaying, just doing such a good job. U4O is just trying to stay alive on that left side and see if he can now continue on. That was a very good trade, definitely worth it considering the HP he was on, and X is just trying to stay alive on that Barley at the top. But looking at left side though, Sem is looking to push that left lane. Sugar will be greeted by him shortly, but Nadine is with him as well, trying to force that 2v1 scenario and see if it can outnumber him and push him back up. But it just seems like Kozaki just can't figure out a way to just even get around this setup and the push from Big. It just seems like Big have so much awareness in comparison, down to 3% now, and Kozaki haven't even actually been able to even touch or even stroke the save down below on down south. Very, very strong performance from Big. What we expected, not this strong though, and great start from them to start off the series.
Yeah, man, that was quite a one-sided matchup. Honestly, I mean, I expected it to be close, but especially with something like a Rico, where you can be strong no matter what your position is on the map. I thought it was gonna go a bit better for Kozaki. I didn't expect him to win it, but I did expect him to, at least tickle the save from Big Clan, which they were not able to do whatsoever. 100% to 0. That is quite a convincing start for Big. We'll see if they can stay that consistent throughout the entire match. More likely than not, Kozaki will be able to find some opportunities here and there to cause some damage. But so far in Heist, yeah, it's a pretty one-sided affair.
Yeah, it's nice to see Big, very, very quick rotations and, quick thinking on the mark as an entire team. It just shows not just coordination, but it shows the chemistry between the players as well. The fact that they can tell that they've grinded and scrimmed so much that they seem to have the same thought process on a lot of the situations they're placed in, which is, another sign of someone who can do decent, or at least half decent against some of these tier 1 teams. But I don't know if dare I say it, I do feel like Big are either stronger now compared to what we've seen a couple of weeks ago back in stage 1, or maybe it's the fact that it depends on the type of teams to play against in terms of tier. But we'll have to see in the future if they do qualify straight into these international finals. As now, in terms of comps, we do see that Rika's still in the Barley and the Sprout on the side of Kozaki, and a Colette, Barley and Ruffs on the side of Big. The only question is though, can Kozaki now figure out a way to try and get round Big? Because Big have a very strong hold around this south side on their own safe, and it's the awareness of Big. They seem to counter everything they want to do, not just strategically, but in terms of their fundamentals, just seem to be so strong. But speaking of that though, Sem does manage to get that first kill in that right lane. Nadine and Sugar are just basically trying to stay alive, but Lars on the spawn, just trying to keep the rest of the Kozaki team at bay, and still quite evenly matched. It's just more Big on the back foot, and Kozaki can't really figure out a way in order to push him back further.
Yeah, Nadine is low HP. The wall is gonna keep him from getting his super down on safe just yet. But once again, so far Kozaki haven't dealt any damage on that blue safe, and it is gonna be Big Clan to kick things off with a slight lead. Nothing too major just yet, nothing too significant, but yeah, they are gonna want to be a bit more careful. Nadine does fall, and now Kozaki to deal the first bit of damage on safe in this entire set. U4O is gonna join it up with a nice super, getting some nice follow-up damage and giving the lead to Kozaki by 8%.
Yeah, we're seeing a bit of a change now, and Big have been on a back foot very heavily for the majority of this game. It's not something we've really seen. The only difference is with Big, as soon as they take down one player, they're instantly on the warpath towards that safe, where Kozaki are just a little bit slower to react to some of the kills they get, but don't be surprised if Big do somehow come back from this, which they already have done, now up by 6%. As long as they continue to hold this setup, this should be fine. The kill on Sem, thanks to Sugar, is definitely going to give him a lot of leadway here, as Nadine is just continuing on to put a bit more damage and a bit more pressure onto them. But Kozaki, they need to push as a 3 now. They need to go on ahead. Sadly for them, Sugar takes the new 4-0. X does get a pickup on Larzo, as they're using that super to see if it can stop them. But even though they're taking a little bit more damage away from Big Safe, it's just not going to be enough with a 17% deficit. And there we see it though. Big do take that first set, but that was much, much better from Kozaki. I do feel like Big were just, as you know, felt like they were suffocated. There was a lot more pressure going on. Just need to react a little bit bigger, sorry, a little bit quicker to some of these kills they actually managed to get.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, we get a bit of a show of the friend list here of our production team. You love to see it. Yeah, Big Clan, pretty convincing set overall. The second game was definitely much, much closer. But even then, Big under control, able to close it out and secure the victory. So good for them. Kozaki, they will need to step up a bit more if they want to stand in the way of Big Clan and from letting them go straight to the international playoffs. Yeah, it was a pretty convincing set, to be honest. If you look at the damage, obviously it's hugely like you know, skewed on the side of Big, because they did get 100% to 0 in the first game. So the second game was a lot closer, but even then, like 7 or 50,000 damage difference, that's massive.
Yeah, and you've got to think about all the damage they've done to the safe as well. You know, if you add that on top, technically, you know, it did heavily out damage the side of Kozaki. But no mucking around here, Teddy. We're going to straight into set number 2. And you can see for the comps, Barley, B, and Crow on the side of Big. On the other side of Kozaki, we've got the Amber, Barley, and the B. And we haven't seen the Amber too much here, you know, on certain situations, especially on Siege. But Sugar now, you can see already on that left side, waiting to push through, waiting to recover as well and try and finish off Sem. Sem's made some great plays in the past, but not this time, as Nadine managed to finish him off with his own B.
Yeah, this is a strong start from Big Clan. They are holding on to control quite well, and Sem is going to burn down to Sugar, which does, once again, those respawn cycling. That respawn cycling from Big Clan does mean that Kozaki, they're constantly a man down or with somewhat low HP, and that just slows down their progress of the retake so much. Only 15 seconds left, and they have yet to really get any bolts and any control. And actually, they have literally yet to get in the center and to pick up a single bolt. They're all going to the side of Big. This is going to be a massive siege bot coming up, and they will keep the lead as well as control for the next one. This is excellent for Big Clan.
Yeah, you can see for the members of Kozaki, especially U4O as well, just reflecting his frustration on this. And can you blame him, really? Like, he's thinking, what more can I do here? It's been a right real pain in the backside. And now that Lars has taken out their Barley, he can throw the shots out whilst pushing in that siege bot down to 22%. And if they win this next siege, well, yeah, well, of course, they are going to win this. And they're already up by 3 bolts, due to the fact that they've kept that full map control, and Nadine added even more pressure, taking down X in the process, still holding that left side, trying to recover if he can. 3 bolts in the middle up for grabs if anyone wants to bag them. But Nadine, I can understand that play. He was playing it very, very patiently, but sadly for him, did get taken down in the process as the jump comes in from Sugar, takes down X as well. and that is going to be almost 5 bolts to 3 there. But 4 to 3, 5 to 3, it doesn't matter how you put it up and how you score it. The siege spot will be flying in, and it's already been done. Don't even need to siege spot there, Teddy, as the first game of set 2 will be going too big.
Yeah, good stuff from Big. They are looking as convincing as ever. Only need another game here to double down on that lead and go 2-0, push things closer and closer to their victory. Kozaki, they need to step up. We've seen them do it against Uchiha Clan. We've seen them do it against not Uchiha, sorry. We've seen them do it against Clash, right? Where they picked up a game or maybe even a whole set. So this is going to be their chance here to make something happen, because Big is definitely much more in their reach than AQM. So who knows? Maybe they can make something happen, but they need to get started with that soon. They don't want to be down 2-0, because after that, even if you have some good moments, it's going to be too much to really catch up and get back into that match.
Yeah, it was just way too convincing, that last siege game. That was just ridiculous. The fan base still managed to keep that full map control even with the bots in process, and like Dionov just felt like, well, what else can I do? What else do you want us to do? I think you can tell from their coordination as well. They're just like making way too many slid ups, probably making a lot more mistakes than usual just due to the frustration, which is perfectly understandable when you've got a team like that, coming against you with being absolute aim gods and great positioning and, not really giving away any kills in the slightest. It's so hard. Nadine on that left side was just giving Sem so many issues, and that's how Sem excels. He likes to go for those individual plays and actually be able to force out a lot of the scenarios, but Nadine is just literally countering that every time in that left lane, and just not really giving him much room to show his full ability. And speaking of Nadine, takes out U4O straight away in the process here, Teddy.
Yeah, good way to kick things off for Big Clan coming into the second game of Siege. They have a couple more bolts, which means they pick up that first siege bot. The bolt lead does go to Kozaki, but it's only temporary, as Big is able to catch up. They have the siege bot to try to find some damage, to keep some center control, and things are just lining up perfectly for them so far. Yeah, not too much of a response from Kozaki just yet. We'll see how that retake is, but it has to be convincing. And as a Barley, it's not the easiest to retake on this map because the center area is so closed off. I mean, there are a couple of walls, but oh, look at that. That was a beautiful pull from True Swords.
Yeah, may do some decent damage against the turret later on, but right now it's not really helping them in the slightest in terms of some of these engagements in the middle, as Big is just shown pure domination once again. 7 bolts to 1. They've already picked up one, time things up, and now Kozaki must be thinking to themselves, what can they even possibly do now to counteract anything that Big are doing right now? So the siege spot does come in here. You can see how much more damage it will do. Still got a minute left to play. Still one more siege spot to go in. Nadine takes that U4O. Sem is trying to push them back, but he's getting actually pushed back himself considering what he's going through. X has taken so much damage already as that Barley, and even U4O is trying to clean up, but Sem finally takes down Nadine after all that work. Lars has actually been taken down himself by X, and now Sugar is the last one left standing, just trying to regroup if he can. They do have 5 bolts. They've got 10 seconds to get 3 more if they can, but how are they going to go about doing this, as they still need 2 more bolts, 5 seconds left. It could be a tie here depending if they find this last one. Sam is going to try and pick up that last one just in time as well, literally by a quarter of a half a second, and here comes the C spot now, Teddy.
Yeah, still a chance for Kozaki to get back into this set, but it is looking good. Actually, I was gonna say about the pool, but yeah, it wasn't that good of a pool, was it? Here we go. That is gonna be enough for Kozaki to pick up this game. It's 1-1. We're all tied up in this set, and this is gonna be a chance for Kozaki to tie things up in sets if they can pick up the win now.
Yeah, respect to the boys on Kozaki. I was pretty surprised. I think we pretty much I personally did as well. I wrote him off just a little bit too soon towards that second half. It just felt like it was big show. That was it. Even after every siege bot, they were in full control, and it's just a bit of a shame really, because some of the players did try to make something happen, and I felt like they were running out of ideas. But you know how they counteracted at the end with that coordination and managed to push in and collect those bolts. It was very, very close. literally a quarter of a second in it from, going out, and to actually stay in this series, what a difference it would have made, because they would obviously be 2-0 down by now. But good stuff from them. I hope they show that consistency more and continue to show that. They know that Big aren't some invincible squad compared to them in terms of like how they want to try and beat them. They are human after all. They do bleed eventually and losing some of these games. So now that they've lost one, they can probably think they can continue on now. We'll have to see. So, but it just seems like Big are obviously the better team, clearly, from what we've seen these last few games, even in that game as well. It's just a few slip-ups from Big. I'm sure they won't make the same mistake twice now. And will Kozaki even been able to win this set? This is going to be another question which will be answered soon.
Yeah, first Siege bot should be heading the way of Big Clan, or rather move the way of Kozaki, but coming from the base of Big Clan. Some nice damage overall there as well. U4 does go down with the ball, but I don't think they can pick up the kill on Sam, so not the end of the world for Big. There are going to be a bolt behind, but now they can find a couple of percentages damage. Will have the extra control for the center area. Nice wall from Sugar. That's blocking off a lot of shotguns. Look at Kozaki. They're just kind of chilling there, taking a lot of time before they activate. We're waiting for U4 to get his super. Does get it now, but the damage is already done, and the Siege bot is going to go to Big in 10 seconds. The question is how many bolts leak each side for the third and final preparation phase. Great kill onto Sugar. Important one as well. Bolt-wise, it is obviously the Siege bot for Big, but Kozaki, they are going to have a pretty healthy bolt lead coming into the next one.
And they will do indeed, as still 6 bolts, like you said, for Kozaki, and Big will have to continue that full control, that full map control, especially around the center, to do this. He's still got plenty of time to get these 6 bolts to tie things up, at least at the bare minimum. So don't worry too much in terms of the timer. It just depends on if Kozaki to bring any back. I feel like a team wipe would definitely suffice in order for Big to get this next Siege bot and finish up this set. But so far, so good. Managed to pick up 4. And the team will be coming in for Kozaki, as Nadine does actually take out X in the process. U4O takes out Sugar now. So you can see Kozaki have only got 1 more bolt, and Big have literally just managed to tie things up. But saying that, they get that Siege bot level 8 at the very last second. So now it swings the way of Big now. Only question is, how much more damage is it going to do? It doesn't matter. They're already on 100%. But sadly for them, it was so close. Just went on the side of Big as well. U4O just being himself there. That will be a set for Big. So now Big will be up 2-0. Sadly for Kozaki, great comeback, great way to try and retaliate. But yeah, you can see that Big were just a lot more better prepared.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I feel so bad for Kozaki. They definitely deserve this one. They played it really well. And when I say deserve, I don't think they deserve it more than Big. Big played better. But this was their chance. And it's so unfortunate for them that they weren't able to capitalize off it.
Yeah, it was a real shame indeed. We expected it from Big to retaliate in a big way. And yeah, of course, they actually did. And it just, the luck went in their favour in the end, getting that last bolt at the very last second. You hate to see it twice, though, especially when it doesn't go your way. And now Big have only got 1 more set to go in order to clean this up, clean this victory if they can get it and end this in a 3-0. It's just a matter of what U4O and the boys on Kozaki can do to then get their revenge. It's, again, not just only a tall order, but it's a very, very long road for them to even consider coming back in this matchup, as we will be going through the stats here. We've got 11 more kills for Big, and also 73,000 or just under 73,000 more damage.
Yeah, overall, Big Clan looking really strong so far. I think some of the stats are maybe not exactly correct. 24,000 damage on the Ike, I assume. Doesn't really seem correct to me.
We know our maths, Teddy. We know that ain't right.
Yeah, it just happens once in a while, doesn't it? Split is up next. Competitive map. I really enjoy this map as well. You have a couple of different metas. The trend lately has been going towards the Colt and B to open things up, but it's also been drifting a bit away from it, going back to some stuff like Surge, Roughs, Rico is still alright, although not quite as popular as it used to be. You can also play Gale on this map, one of the few maps where Gale is viable. Because there's jump pads. If you combine it with some tanks, you can just throw your teammates into the zone constantly. So that's something we've been seeing quite a bit lately. Sandy does make a lot of sense, Barley as well. But overall, yeah, some pretty standard brawlers so far in this game, and a very slight early lead in favor of Big.
Sugar now already taken out a lot of those barricades to give himself a little bit more of an advantageous position. As now Nadine and Sugar are in that left zone, whilst U4OX and also from the support there from Sem going to try and grab that right one. But Lars is just trying to be a little bit of a pain in the backside, was in a kind of 1v3 situation, was hoping that they weren't going to push on through so rapidly, which they have done, but Sugar's still holding that left zone as well, as Lars takes out Sem in the process. X is almost taken down anyway. Sugar will get cleaned up very soon with Lars, just going to be pushing in, but it doesn't matter, his presence is going to be more than enough. And manages to get that right zone as well, and now edged lead ever so shortly, as now there's a 14% lead.
Yeah, things not looking too bad for Big, but Kozaki are catching up on the right-hand side. Nice slow from Nadine. Can he capitalize on it? No, he's down to 56 HP. Oh, Sugar has been not moving very much for the last 30 seconds. Oh my, you hate to see it. I don't know if we can blame the loss on that, but it doesn't really help, does it?
No, not really. Like, his cam's still moving, but he's acting as though he is still playing, so I'm not really too sure what happened there. Maybe he's just trying to figure out what exactly happened. Kozaki now, of course, you know, like any team would, are going to try and take advantage of this if they can. Big were in that zone, now up by 18%, as Sugar's taking down Sem. And Sugar's also taking down X, as U4O taking out two of his own as well. It's going to be 1v1 between Nadine and U4O to see what is exactly going to happen, but it's going to be probably too little too late here, as Nadine does win at 1v1, but not the game. And if that is a connectivity issue, Teddy, which, you know, to no surprise it might have been, yeah, it's won't be too happy about that.
Yeah, by the way, quick little notice here. You can't know that, it's not your bad at all, Lito. But on the camera it was Nadine, but it said Sugar Snort. So I'm guessing that Sugar Snort, like maybe his whole internet went off. So his camera went off, and instead we saw Nadine, but it still said Sugar Snort. If that makes any sense. So yeah, it was definitely Nadine and not Sugar Snort. It took a while for me to recognize it as well. I actually know those guys pretty well, so that's why I know what they look like exactly. But yeah, I'm not gonna blame that on you, Lito, not at all. Honestly, I'm not sure what happened for Big. I'm guessing that the connectivity issue did, you know, have quite a bit of influence in this result. It is something that happens. Brawl Stars is a fast-paced game, so you can't really like replay games unless, you know, it's something massive on both sides. Just because it's quick games, you know what I mean? It's quick games, and on mobile you don't have too many issues, to be honest. I do feel quite lucky compared to, like, you know, some PC games where you have technical breaks every couple of minutes or something. Maybe not that badly, but a lot worse than Brawl Stars. Yeah, for sure. I've seen quite a lot of stuff, you know, and you've probably seen quite a lot more than me as well. But yeah, so we're lucky with that, but obviously it doesn't stop the fact that sometimes your internet doesn't really want to work your way, or your device just decides that internet is a bit, like, you know, too fancy of a technology. So that kind of stuff definitely just happens once in a while. We'll see if they can come back from this in this set. I think they should be able to. I feel like they had a decent control over the game until Sugar, like, you know, took a bit of a break. So I'm still confident they can pull it off once we get back into the action, as long as their internet is fine and they play well.
Yeah, it's funny, you see more problems compared to 20 years ago when we were competing on 14-inch CRT TVs or monitors to now actually playing wirelessly on phones, and there's more trouble now. You think there'll be less trouble now, Teddy, going into the future, but it don't matter anyway. Hopefully it has been resolved, and yeah, you are right about obviously with the player name. If we had offline events, you know, I'll be able to witness that and be able to know who is who. But, you know, one day, Teddy, we will get them in the future. depending on the circumstances. But let's have a look now, going back into set number 3, game number 2. Big did lose that first game, but now we can see how they're going to retaliate. It's already now up to 48%, already at the halfway mark. So they're trying to show that they really not just want to end this, but not only due to the fact that they connectivity issues earlier, but show they want to cause a massive impact, and obviously not happy about that first game. They're already up to 65%, and I think things are only going to get worse here, Telly.
Yeah, this is looking a bit scary for Kozaki because sure, it's not over after this game, but if they lose it, it's going to be match point for Big Clan, and then suddenly things start to get a lot more real. 80% captured almost for Big. Lars in a good position to take down Sam. He's not really going to capitalize. I feel like he had enough ammo to pick up that kill, but I may have been wrong, and he may not have known exactly how much HP he had in the first place. Lars is capitalizing on some over-aggression on the right side from Kozaki. Nidin in the zone, able to find some nice shots down as well. Sam low HP, he's gonna go down to Sugar, and now things are looking amazing for Big. 5% away and nothing in the way of Big Clan as they pick up this game and therefore get to match point. One more win and they are going to the international playoffs.
Yeah, even towards the end, Sugar just made it look like so easy. Made it look like he's just playing standard ladder at that point. It was so good. Nadine's individual ability, like how he progresses some of his opponents, also very good. You know, it's a lot of tier 1 elements you see from Big Clan, which is really nice. We know Kozaki is kind of a more of a top-standard tier 3 team, but I'm happy with the fact that they do show some kind of progression here. We know that obviously not as strong as Big in a lot of ways, but it's nice to see they're really doing their best to even try and fight back, because a lot of teams can. You know, when it gets a top team like this, it's very hard to, like, you know, not just give up from the get-go or just assume the worst. We see some teams do that, especially around that tier 3, tier 4 kind of margin. But Big, they really did show that they weren't happy about that last game. I think they just want to get this series done now in case there is any more issues, because, you know, we've got to be careful. You know, this is an online tournament after all, and especially on Wi-Fi, it can cause a few issues here and there. But they witness that as well. They know that as soon as they get this done, the sooner they can feel relieved going into the international finals. And remember, if they do win this set, it will be 3-0 in favour of Big, and they will qualify for the international finals, as Kozaki may have to play in an decider match against Yuchia Clan. So we're going to see Lars on that right side, Sugar in the centre, and the Dean's on that left side, as X is going to be pushing the right side with Youthport O. And at the top left there, you can see the last remaining player on Kozaki is looking to see if he can push towards that hot zone. But Nadine is just doing a great job, just keeping him at bay, making sure Sem can't push. And I feel sorry for Sem, a very good individual player with great fundamentals, but hasn't really been able to play to his strengths throughout most of this series.
Yeah, that is a very fair point. We saw him show some much better stuff in his first match of the day against Fight Kaluk. So far, it is a very close game. Nidin was a great kill, and Nidin was another one. Oh my god, he almost picks up U4. Oh, he does actually take him down. Despite having such a big HP disadvantage, he still wins that 1v2. And sure, Kozaki have taken the lead, but I still feel like overall Big, they are in a position to hold on to control, but Lars going down might be the opening that Kozaki need to move further into that zone. Nidin is able to pick up an important kill. He's once again low HP, but it hasn't stopped him before. He survives thanks to the honeypot, and now Big Clan, they're not that far behind. It's only a couple of seconds in the left zone to catch up, and actually they do have the lead now. They do have the lead, and they still have a bit to capture on the left-hand side. This will just solidify their position, as technically they could focus a bit more on the right lane, not really care too much about what's happening on the left side. And look at that, Kozaki, they don't really know how to reply to this. 90% Big, they're almost done.
They literally are. That was insane. Can we talk about Nadine and how his shot? See, this is where I love to see, like, accuracy, like in terms of percentage, because his Piper was so good at the time, and Nadine was just looking so good. Like, it was just ridiculous, the shots he was hitting, and you know, he barely even missed. You know, some of those were even predicted shots as well, and he still predicted so well. It wasn't like, you know, the players on the side of Kozaki were making, you know, like, not like effortlesses, like, you know, pulling back or anything like that. They weren't being quite unorthodox in terms of like how they were going to pull back themselves to, you know, regain their HP. But, you know, even then though, the prediction from the side, from Nadine on Big just looks so good. Very strong performance, and congratulations to Big, because there will be now going to the international finals as another qualified team.
Yeah, much deserved. Kozaki had a good run, to be honest, but they're not out of this journey just yet. They will be facing Uchiha Clan in the decider match that is gonna be played on Friday.
Certainly will do indeed. So good stuff from Big. This is what we expected. Nice to see Kozaki make some kind of comeback, or show kind of a little bit of spice, but it just was not enough. I think they kind of knew what was going to happen as well. It's like I say, some people can, will actually give up before it even starts. But no, they showed some promise, Juno's first couple of sets, but after a while, it was just a real struggle as Big in that set had 29,000 more damage, 9 more kills. They just got out-killed and out-damaged in every set, in all fairness. But nice to see Big try and continue their dominance, and rightly so. When we saw them in Group F and they were in that decider match, it was just a real shocker, really. It's just with a lot of those teams in Group F, like Totem, Reply Totem, and we had, I think it was Bunker Esports, and I can't remember if it was SK or another team, but yeah, it was EXO if I remember rightly. But yeah, you could see that with one of those groups, all 4 of those teams could potentially, or should actually, have gone to the international finals. It was sad to see one of them go. I think that was Bunker Esports. But Big qualifying, a little bit later than never. They will have a slightly lower seeding, so I assume somewhere between 9th to 16th. But the main reason is, or the main fact is the fact that they have qualified. I think I'm making the assumption here that because they don't go to the decider match and they actually qualified for the winners match, they'll probably get 9th to 12th seed somewhere. So they're going to be happy about that anyway, rather than playing against one of the teams in first to 8th anyway. So we'll have to see how that happens. But congratulations to Big. Look forward to see how they do in the international finals. And we will see Kozaki again very, very soon. Not next week, but we will be seeing him on Friday against Uchiha Clan and find out who is actually going to be qualifying out of those two as well. So don't worry, they still have a second chance in making it.
Yeah, they certainly do. It's not over for them just yet, but obviously they kind of lose that buffer they had early on, that advantage from being 1-0 in sets. So we'll see how they deal with the bigger pressure that they will be having in that decider match against definitely not quite as strong as an opponent as Big, but Uchiha Clan still a good team nevertheless, so that's going to be quite an exciting decider match coming up on Friday.
Exactly. So that should be an exciting match to way to go into Friday. We've already got one already, and we're going to just look at the overall match stats. And as you can see, there are 29 more kills for Big. Not really too much of a surprise there, and not really too much of a surprise for the damage, even 98,000 more. And you can see the best ball has been used there. A lot of Barley here and there, and obviously a lot of B as well. So again, not really too much of a shocker considering the modes they were playing on. But I think we may have an interview later with Sugar Snort from Big. So curious to see how he feels, like, not just about this match in general in the series, but how he feels about going into the international finals. We have a lot of questions to ask Teddy, and look forward to seeing answers we get from him. But before we go into it, let's have a look at the standings overall from Group B of Stage 2. And the opening match, Uchiha Clan, sadly for them, got pretty battered against Big 3-0. But then again, who didn't over the course of this stage? And Kozaki did take down Fight Club 3-0 as well. Fight Club did lose to Uchiha Clan, sadly. It was a little bit anticlimactic. They could have come back, but it's just one of those things. And here are the overall standings from Groups A and B. And we do have Group C tomorrow. Group D will be going through on Thursday. And we have the decider matches for the second place in the group on the Friday. So very exciting stuff here, Teddy. Still got plenty more action to come.
Oh yeah, for sure, and some really nice teams as well. I'm particularly looking forward to seeing Team Activium versus potentially BB Army, as well as Navi and Reply Totem in the same group. That's for Group D. So yeah, we got some pretty exciting matches, teams, and competitive Brawl Stars ahead of us this week. We will be live every single day, by the way, guys. So if you want to make sure you catch the Group C, that's tomorrow, Group D on Thursday, and then all the decider matches of every single group is going to be on Friday. So we got some real heat ahead of us. We are waiting for Sugar Snort to ready up for the interview. And honestly, Sugar Snort, I warn you, Lethal, he has one of the most awesome haircuts in the Brawl Stars scene. It's just like beautiful.
Do you know what? I thought you were going to say he's got one of the most craziest attitudes we've ever seen, or something like that, like in terms of his character. And I was just about to say to you, Teddy, don't worry, mate. I'll deal with this. I'll sort him out by the end of the interview. Don't worry about that. But I wasn't actually expect that in the slightest. But when he said he's got one of the greatest haircuts, I was like, oh okay, that's nice.
That's all right. We can deal with nice haircuts.
Exactly. I think we do have the interview ready with Sugar to know his thoughts, not just on the match, but just overall. Sugar, again, congratulations for your team. You've qualified for the international finals. Better late than never, but at least you got there in the end. Well done. And yeah, just how do you feel overall?
Yeah, thanks a lot. I mean, we're of course very happy that we qualified now in the end. I mean, it was a little bit of a shit show because we were having a lot of lags. So I had to play on my mobile in the end. So yeah, it wasn't too great, but we managed to pull through.
So I'm sure Teddy's got a lovely question for you.
Yeah, well, you know, last time I interviewed you was in Dutch a while back. You guys won an event. Today you guys qualifying for the Gamestars playoffs. What does it mean to you guys? Like, is this one of the larger events you guys have ever qualified for? Like, how is the pressure? How confident are you going forward in Gamestars?
I mean, like for the playoffs, they will for sure be a lot more interesting. Like we kind of expected to qualify for this event, as there's a lot of second options to qualify. There are a lot of double elimination brackets. You have to only get top 3. So for this event, we were kind of expecting to qualify for sure. But the playoffs are going to be really interesting, as there are a lot of great teams.
Yeah, and how do you feel about the maps as well? A last question on my end. I know it's hard to play maps that are not in a competitive map pool. Do you feel like you guys are very handicapped by it, or do you feel like maybe it's a bit of an advantage because you have some more versatility than other teams? Like, how do you see that?
I mean, sometimes you're kind of debating what to play more than usual, because like you didn't play the map at all ever, or maybe you played it once a ladder and you're just trying to remember what everyone was playing there and what worked out well. But in the end, we usually come up with a pretty good comp. So.
Yeah, sorry, Sugar, we've got so many questions to ask you. It's like basically a Q&A round for you, pretty much, but we do have one final question for you. Now, I know you were hoping to maybe qualify a little bit sooner. I think there may be a chance that because you qualified first at stage 2, you probably have like a 9th to 12th seed. I'm making the assumption here. It could be different. We'll look at it, you know, next week when you do go through your groups again in international finals. But one question, or the last question I was going to ask, is the fact that is there any teams in particular you love to go up against first, or any teams you want to go up against in particular at the international finals?
I mean, like not go up against or go up against?
Either, really. You know, if there's someone you want to go up against, maybe good due to a rivalry, that'd be great. If there's someone you want to avoid, I can also completely understand that as well.
I mean, in the end, you're always hoping to face the strongest teams in the finals, because that will be the most epic rivalry there is. So in that case, you're like always hoping to face those in the beginning, so you can have the most exciting matches in the end.
Well, great stuff, Sugar. Thank you very much for taking the time out to answer our questions. Much appreciated. Again, congratulations and good luck in the international finals next week.
Yes, thanks a lot.
Oh, he's a lovely guy, and he's actually very well mannered, probably more mannered than me anyway, I can definitely tell you that one. But you know, that's it, I think, pretty much here, Teddy, and that's all we've got time for. You know, had a good interview with Sugar at the end to finish things off. Do you have any final thoughts from what you've seen throughout the day in Group B?
Well, man, I think today's group stage was super interesting. We had some really solid teams competing, and it's gonna stay just as good for the rest of the week. Tomorrow we have Group C, some real heat over there as well. And then on Thursday, you know, Totem and Navi in the same group, that can go very, very wrong for one of those two teams. As well as on Friday, the deciders, like so much on the line on Friday, because half of the teams are going to go home. Half of them, that's quite a couple of teams. So yeah, we will find all of that out this week in Gamestars. With that being said, thank you very much, Lethal, for doing this with me today and all this season long already. Big shout out to our production team as well for giving us, everything to have a smooth and amazing show, as well as thank you guys for watching and the players at home. We will see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place for Group C.